Wait, what was that? All right. Live. I'm alive or am I live? We're both. We have enough light. Yeah, it looks good. It looks good.
You look good.
All right. 0 people. That's what I wanted. That's why I read this book, is to discuss it with 0 people.
We can discuss it. We discussed it. We kind of discussed it. We didn't discuss it very much because we were saving our discussion.
We discussed it a little bit.
Tiny.
Just, yeah, very, 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 very small. Yeah. I kind of had like a vague little goblin. Hooray! Are you okay, Kaylee? Yeah, I told them you're sick.
Yeah, I have like a sinus thing going on, and I'm also started my period today, so I'm having really bad cramps.
My kids were sick a few days ago, and we think Kaylee got what they got. It took a little while for you to get it, though.
They were sick like on Monday, and I started kind of feeling it last night a little bit.
Yeah.
But then today it really hit me. And I had to work all day, so yeah. I'll be all right. I have tea here to help.
I'm ready to discuss. I thought I'd slept through it again, and I actually read the book. Oh, that would have sucked. Read this whole book. Dude, I didn't start reading this book until like maybe a little over a week ago, and I was like stressing because I was like, am I going to fucking finish this book in time? Because we had so many things going on, so many things we were watching, so many things we were doing. Yeah. And I was just like trying to read every chance I got. I was like, and then something would call me away and I'd be like, I read 3 words.
I wasn't worried about you finishing because you always read a ton.
Yeah.
And I actually finished it before you, though, but barely. Like, we finished the same day. I finished like 30 minutes before.
Yeah, we finished real close together.
I started before you did, too.
Quite a bit before me, yeah.
Yeah, you're a fast reader. I'm so glad you're here, Selena.
She's the only one.
Yeah.
She's the only one. It's just going to be the Selena party.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Trio hangout.
It'll just be Selena. Well, Selena, you have the option to jump on the video chat. Yeah. I posted the link to that as well. So if you want to actually talk to us, you don't even have to show your face. We can just hear your voice. You can modulate your voice if you want and disguise it if you don't like the sound of it. A buddy of mine, Travis, was like very hesitant to start a podcast because he hates his voice so much. So I know that the hatred for your own voice can run pretty deep. When I hear my playback of my video, what's funny and probably ironic to a lot of people is that when I hear my voice back in a recording, it sounds high-pitched to me.
You have such a deep voice. I hate my voice. I hate, like, when you put on our videos to, like, check and make sure everything's okay. I hate listening to myself talk.
Allie's here.
Hi, Allie. Welcome.
And
welcome.
El Grande Gato.
Evening.
Everyone's read the book, correct? If not, get out. I'm just kidding.
No.
You can stay if you want.
Absolutely. I think we're going to have a lot more to talk about with this book than we did with Clown and Cornfield.
Well, we got 7 stories to talk about, right?
So
we got the wraparound, and we've got the 6 stories. So it says we got 3 people here, but only 1 person up here. So
that might be StreamYard.
That must just be, I don't know what the hell that is. It's super weird. Let's see what it says on YouTube. Okay, YouTube. There we go. On YouTube, it says we've got 1. But are Ali and Gato, you're still here?
I wonder if all the tabs I have open.
Slowing the internet down?
Yeah, you can close all of them.
I can close them now?
Yeah, you can.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I can get them because I have Don't worry about it. I can get them. I applied to 18 jobs yesterday, and I kept the tabs open for like every single one because I was gonna like get the contact information, but I found the contact information elsewhere.
Yeah, if you click on participants, we're all here. Participants. Well, that might be on YouTube or something because I'm not seeing no participants here. How does it do that?
It's that one. Yeah.
Oh, weird. Where's participants? How do I see that? Two watching now.
I don't know.
You see that anywhere? Top chat? I don't know. Doesn't matter. So, yeah. So, Ali, Gato, as I was telling Selena, we also left a link for the video chat. If you guys want to jump in and show your faces, let your voices be heard. I'm hoping to wait for at least...
Yeah,
we had like 6 people last time, so I'm hoping we have at least that this time. I felt like we were gonna have more, because there was a couple people that were like, I missed it last time, but I'm gonna make it this time.
Yeah.
And we definitely had some people who read the book and were telling me they read the book. Because even on Patreon, we had a couple people be like, I finished. And I hope they get to be here.
Yeah, we can.
Because if you read an entire so
a moment longer or so.
Aaron Montagner?
I'm not sure. Yes.
Montagner. Aaron Montagner. Is that you, Gato? Because if so, that's one. Amber finished it.
Oh, good.
On the 19th.
Amber didn't make the
So she finished it a week ago. Selena, which we already knew. And then, so that's 2 people right there that I'm hoping show up because they read it. And I don't want to go on without them.
Yeah.
And then as far as the members go for YouTube, I don't know if anyone... Let's see here. Wait, what? Oh, community. There we go. Goblin. Quelvin. Okay, let's see. Gato here. Yep, he's got it. And then just bought it 2 weeks ago. William Castro. So, okay, I don't know. Gato, you're not the same person as the one I just mentioned, right? As Aaron, yeah. Well, I don't know. So, all right. Still only 2 people. Yeah, I mean, it's Friday.
Happy Friday.
6 to 7. So while we sit here and wait, we might as well talk about who just posted.
Talk about?
Yeah, Selena's letting people know. Thank you. So we just watched Clock.
Yeah.
On Hulu, which was dropped today. We started it last night at midnight because we were supposed to watch Yellow Jackets. And then they were like, JK, we're not putting it out today. It's coming out next week for whatever friggin' reason. And so we watched Clock instead. And what did he just say? Yeah. So, yeah, we'll obviously have a review up tonight. But I know Kaylee was big on it.
Oh yeah, I really liked it. That was really great. I was very happy with it because like the last couple movies that we've watched and reviewed, aside from like Evil Dead Rise and Beau is Afraid, like all the other ones that we've done recently have been really subpar, you know?
Yeah.
Like Fright Night 2 and Bury the Bride and everything. So this was definitely like a big jump in quality.
Bury the Bride.
But yeah, I think it's a really cool story, and it fits with the theme this year of mothers and motherhood, which is like, seems like every movie that we're watching has to deal with moms.
Yeah, it's
which is
definitely
fine with me.
it's definitely a big theme this year. There's
Yeah.
no doubt about it. So how far are we in? 10 minutes? We usually wait 10, but tonight, I mean, only 2 people.
We can wait a little longer.
I mean, we can start kind of vaguely discussing it before we get into like, the specifics, because I want to know, Selena, Allie, Gato, what did you guys think of the book? Like, just right off the bat,
Overall.
like just kind of overall, what stories worked for you, which stories didn't. We can kind of go along that. Really, more than anything, I just want to know like what you thought of the book and what was your favorite of the 6 plus the wraparound 7 stories. While you're typing, I'll say, okay, as far as, okay, I'm not going to give, I guess we're giving kind of like a review-ish thing right now.
Like general.
My general feeling on the book is that I felt like the characters were always, well established. Like I always felt like I did get to know the characters. And that's like the anchor of the book.
Yeah.
For me was like to get me through it. I did like the characters. The concepts, like the story elements and whatnot of each story were intriguing for the most part, but it's really just kind of the anticlimactic finishes to every story, to where I wondered if the stories would have been better suited as full books, where I felt like we just kind of, I don't know, I felt like we were just getting going. And then it's just, I remember having the same feeling with every single story, where I would kind of get 2 or 3 pages away from finished.
Yeah.
And I would be like, how the hell are we wrapping this up in 2 or 3 pages?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand. Like, I feel like we're still like in the middle of this. And then they would just kind of end it. And I would just be super underwhelmed.
Yeah, that's the best word.
Yeah.
I feel very similar to you. Like, I really like the characters. I thought that all of the like concepts were really neat, and I definitely have parts of each story that I quite enjoyed. I like the atmosphere of the town. Goblin, like I really enjoyed that. It reminded me, I made a post on Instagram about this book today, and they said it reminded me of like Welcome to Night Vale, if anybody's familiar with that podcast. It has a kind of similar feel to me, although I prefer Welcome to Night Vale. But yeah, like the endings all left me very dissatisfied and underwhelmed, which kind of sucks because I did really like some of the concepts, and I like the writing style of Josh Mallerman. Like I think he's a good writer for sure. I liked his descriptions and everything, but it just was dissatisfying. Like I wanted more from each story.
Absolutely.
And I just, maybe you're right, maybe having them as like longer pieces would have served them better. I don't know. I didn't hate the book at all. Like I had a good time reading it. I just was underwhelmed by it.
Yeah. I like this book quite a bit overall, much more to it than Clown in a Cornfield.
Yeah.
I enjoyed reading Clown in a Cornfield more, personally.
Did you?
Because it felt like a full story. And I know that they're short stories, so they're not going to feel like a full story, so to speak. But short stories can still feel complete.
Yeah.
They can still feel, fully realized. They're just shorter. And so I didn't like the endings of A Man in Slices and Camp. And they're the first two stories.
Yeah.
I mean, that's definitely not a good way to start. For sure. Like if you've got like six stories in a book and then the first two are just underwhelming to you, it is hard to continue.
Totally.
You're
like, do I want to keep going?
I enjoyed the book overall. I liked Presto and A Man in Slices. I agree with the stories ending abruptly, but I do like the stories and characters. It's the characters. Now, I'd say my biggest complaint with the book in general is that I never really felt this, because the whole book is centered around this town of Goblin, right? And I just never felt the town's presence. Like I felt like every story in this book could have been set anywhere. Like the only thing that connected this for me, and this is like such a focus of the books for some reason, all the stories, there's like one connection that I always fucking felt was there. And this is the topiaries.
Oh, the hedges, yeah.
Dude, the top topiaries or whatever, however you say that word.
Topiaries?
Yeah, they seriously, that word came up in this book so many fucking times. I was like, how often do you see one of those? Because I don't see one very often. But in this town, there seems to be one on every corner.
No, but it's like they're the main, because it's like the hedges and then the topiaries of the like founders.
The founders, stuff.
That's like their thing that they're proud of. But I don't know. I don't agree. I feel like for me, I liked the feel of the town. I thought that it felt very like it was in the same area, and it was cool because I like the idea that we're jumping around from all these different people in the community. And I think the reason I felt that it was connected was because I think each story references something from another like part of the town, whether it's the topiaries and the hedge, or like the history, or the woods,
the North
or
Woods,
the owls. Like I felt like there was a lot of connection with everything.
There were two minor of connections for me. Like I would have liked them to be woven together in one way or another, where there's references to elements from other stories, like did you hear about what that kid did at the zoo? Something like that, where it just feels like the same town. It feels like there's, I don't know, a connection. I never really, I don't know. Yes, there's some little things, and some of the stories are very straightforward. And I thought for sure, like the first three stories or something, like I kept expecting something supernatural-ish to happen. And it wasn't until Presto, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I remember that being the first thing where I was like, oh, so we are supernatural now, right? Because he's like lifting freaking bodies out of graves and feeding them to some like androgynous like devil person who's like done a deal with him for dirty magic. But we'll get into the stories individually. We're just kind of trying to discuss things. Let's see. I think Camp was more there for the historian to tell some backstory. True. Presto was probably my favorite. Same. That was my favorite too. Camp story felt a bit flat.
That's funny because I wouldn't say it was my favorite, but I actually liked this story
of Camp.
Yeah.
Okay.
Comp. I don't know. Camp.
Mein Kampf? Is that what you're talking about? Jesus, what book did you read? Presto had a cool concept, and the ending was here. That's mine for sure. I told you that when we got done with it. That was my favorite one. Man, the topiaries were referred to a lot, 100%. Yep. And the Goblin Police. That was something, Kaylee. We'll talk about that when we get to the last story. But I did like that. I thought the exact same thing when I was reading, was looking out for references or tie-ins. Yeah, me too. I just wanted something that felt like there was a reason, because like if you're gonna set the entire book, like, because the whole point of these anthology style books with like small novellas, like, Stephen King's Skeleton Crew, or Nightmares and Dreamscapes, or whatever. While King does reference a lot of his own shit, right? They all take place in like Derry or Castle Rock or Haven or wherever the fuck. Like, the point of those books is that there's just random stories that are disconnected from one another.
Right.
And so with something like this, where you have a town where it's all set in and you're getting multiple different stories within that town, I just kept expecting, and this is not the book's fault per se. It's just more of like a preference for me of, I'm trying to think of a good, like, I mean, look at something like Pulp Fiction, right? Pulp Fiction is this near anthology film where, it starts off with, the robbers. It moves in. You get to know Jules and Vincent, and then you move off to another story, and then when when dude goes to get his watch back from his house, right? Like, Vincent's there and he blows him away in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Right. And there's that connection.
Yeah.
And he sees Marcellus Wallace out on the street. Butch runs into him with the car, and we go there. And then when we go back in time, right, then we see what happened with Jules and Vincent earlier. And there is some big payoff to that, because they are separate stories, but they're interconnected in a way that when you realize at the end of the movie that Vincent isn't going to listen to the, hand of God coming down to stop those motherfucking bullets, right? It's Jules that sees the sign, and he's moving out of the life. And we know that because Vincent doesn't move out of the life, he gets killed later that day. By Butch coming to get his stuff. So even though they are separate stories, they're all in the same area.
Yeah.
And they do interconnect in a way that enriches. Would the Jules and Vincent story on its own, when they're talking to freaking Honey Bunny and whatnot in the diner, like, would that story be great on its own without any other context to the other stories that we got in there? Absolutely, because fucking Quentin Tarantino and his dialogue is amazing. But it's that extra connection to a story that we got in a different place that enriched it so much. And I feel like that was something lost here for me, you know? But anyway.
I understand.
The Goblin Police were cool. I'd say I'd love someone to adapt how the author saw those in his mind's eye. Kaylee's taken up some artistic.
I have.
Yeah, she got herself an Apple Pen and Procreate.
Doing some digital art and try and draw them.
You're gonna have to draw the cups. Yeah. That would have been cool if you had that for the. Yeah.
I don't know. Oh well.
No one else is an artist here.
Somebody else, probably.
I can't believe we only have a few people here. Like, it sucks because, as I said, she missed last time too.
Amber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it said, are we still having? Well, I don't understand. Aaron, I don't know. I think he may be supposed to be here. We've been on for 25 minutes. I mean, what else can we do?
Yeah, I guess people can just kind of join if they're coming, and
It sucks. It sucks. I mean, we know what times we do these, and we were a little late, but a little late shouldn't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. So I guess let's get into it, y'all. So whoever's here is here, and if you join late, you're gonna have to jump in on the book that the story that we're in. All right. So starting with the prologue. All right. As far as the prologue goes, I mean, the prologue is clearly, to me, an homage to Salem's Lot.
Yeah, I felt that instantly too. This
is very, very similar to, the guys who are hired to take Barlow's coffin to the house, and they get these very specific instructions, right? And they're told not to do this and make sure that you lock up these things,
Yeah.
and right, and they don't pay attention, right? They don't do it. They just take the locks and they throw them in the basement and they run away with like what they're not supposed to do, right? And this is just very similar here. I liked this. As I said, it's so similar to Salem's Lot that it almost feels derivative. But regardless, I did still enjoy it, but that might just be because I love Salem's Lot.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. I don't know. It definitely, like, the prologue and the epilogue, I was fine with. I didn't like super love it or anything, but I do like the feel of Salem's Lot with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a lot to say because the epilogue obviously and the prologue are all one thing, right? And here's something that's like here's another opportunity to have some elements of the stories play into the epilogue to where it's like affected the story in some way.
But I mean, it kind of does start to intersect, like what you were talking about with it. I know we jumped already to the epilogue, but just because you mentioned it earlier, he takes, that corpse, the Native American zombie. He takes it to the party that's happening in Happy Birthday Hunter. So I mean, I know that's just one of the stories, but like, that's kind of like what you were saying with it, like intersecting and having a having it relate. Sorry, Selena, I just saw your comment. I was glad for the epilogue to be the true end to Happy Birthday Hunter. Yeah, exactly. It is kind of like the true end to that.
Yeah, I don't have a ton to say about the prologue, epilogue thing. We get some references, right, that come up here and there. This is where we kind of find out that it rains all the time, despite what Eric Draven says in The Crow. Can't rain all the time.
A movie I still have not seen.
That's crazy to me.
Which is insane.
That's crazy to me.
I like that it rains all the time in Goblin. I would love to live in a town like Goblin. I love the rain and like thunderstorms and stuff. And I love how like everybody in the town is just so used to it. Like, as much as I love the rain, I don't love being out in the rain. And they're like, they just go about, like, they're having a party like outside and they just have parkas on. Like, they're gonna go do all kinds of stuff. Like, they're at the zoo and it's raining.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Why was the crate ordered, though?
The rich dude, forget his name, but he's the business partner of the guy in Happy Birthday Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
The business partner. I don't know why he orders it, actually. I don't think that's really explained. It sort of seems like he's ordering it as like similar to how Hunter was like a trophy collector. Like, he's just a wealthy guy that ordered it.
The guy who delivered it ordered it because he wanted to punish himself and the town, I guess.
The guy who delivered it didn't order it.
It's the guy who's in the house.
Guy. Yeah, Nash and Crawford. Yeah. So I think that it's like, I think it's because he's wealthy. Like, he's just kind of like, I think he just orders something that he thinks is going to be really cool, but doesn't realize like how dangerous it is. Because I don't think it's explained. Yeah, it's Crawford.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't want the guy to come in the house.
You're right.
When he opens the door, he's just like, didn't you destroy it? So it's like he ordered it just to have it destroyed because he wasn't going to answer. He specifically says he like, his mind. Right. So he had it from like 12 to 12:30, which gave him that like time to decide. I got 30 minutes to decide whether I want this or not. And he decided not. And the delivery guy came in the house anyway. And then he was like, what have you done to us? Right. Like you've doomed us both. Now I don't know what the instructions are. Like, if the thing falls over, don't check on it. He does check on it.
Yeah,
When he goes back there, the thing talks to him, which
Yeah.
I think honestly, okay, like let's really think about this. If you were delivering a package
Yeah.
and people were like, you can't do this, this, or this, and the thing fell over, you went to check on it, and when it fell over and you went into the back and you heard someone talking back there, you would A, check on them,
Yeah.
B, call the police, or C, just run from the truck.
Yes.
Because D, continue to do what this guy does is not an option.
I know.
But that's one of those
He's, like,
things. It's a horror.
scared by it, but
He's
you're
scared,
right.
but he stays with the job.
I don't know. He kind of
Hell
convinces
no.
himself that he didn't hear something too, right? Like for a moment where he's like,
Right.
it's nothing.
It's creaking.
Yeah, like he's like thinking that he's getting freaked out,
Sure.
but
You would check.
he breaks all the rules.
He does break
Literally
all
all
the rules,
of them.
but isn't that what people do in books and movies?
Yes.
Right? Don't feed a mogwai after midnight.
Yeah.
Don't get them wet.
Do both of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just rules are meant to be broken in movies and books and video games and any storytelling.
Yeah.
So yeah, this guy does nothing that he's supposed to do. And it ends up getting them both killed. Yeah, after people drove by motioning to him, really freaked him. Yeah, there's no way. But this is, I mean, this is true of like most horror stories, right? It's like most people would be out. And so like there wouldn't be a horror movie good amount of the time when it comes to the kinds, there's certain situations, right, where typically when I write a horror movie, the thing that I like to do is I like to put my characters in inescapable situations so that there isn't an out.
Yeah.
Right? That's the parameters that I set. I set a trap, right? And then once they're in it, there is no way out. And so they're trying to do everything they can get out of the situation. I don't have any interest in writing a story where the person could just like this, because I couldn't write this story, right? If I did, I'd have to come up with a very definite reason why he's sticking around. Like it would have to make sense to me, right? Your audience, they either can go along with you or they can't. But I would be like, I would put some sense of urgency on it for him of like, I have to deliver this package tonight to get paid. You know, it's kind of like the collector, right?
Yeah.
The collector needs Arkin needs to get this thing so that he can go and sell it so that he can give his wife the money so that she can pay out the loan shark so that the wife and the kid won't get hurt. Yeah. So he pushes himself further than ever imaginable because it's for his kid. Because it's, for somebody he loves. That I can buy. But in this story, it's just like, it's just a job. I'm not dying for my job.
Well, yeah. And he's just like, he's kind of roped into it last minute, too.
Yeah. Yeah,
I agree. I don't think there's like a good sense of urgency for why he would stick around.
There's a lot of questionable decisions. Yeah. Of course.
All the time.
Of course. And that's, to me, is lazy writing. And I've always said that, like, even though I can enjoy them, even though there's tons of freaking things, we talk about this all the time. It's my favorite thing to bring up when it comes to this discussion. Halloween is my favorite film, but Laurie Strode throwing the knife down near Michael Myers' body and then walking away is like the dumbest shit ever. Yeah. Still love the film, Laurie. But I would never write that scene. Yeah. But then again, I didn't make Halloween. I think a little more backstory on how the creature from the crate was captured, summoned might help, unless I missed something. I think stuff like that's just always supposed to remain vague. Yeah. Right? It's kind of like the, Fluffy in Creepshow. Like, where'd it come from? We get a little context with like what's on the crate, the year, the location, but we don't have the backstory of how the damn thing was caught and what happens to it when it breaks out at the end, when he throws it in the water and it gets free. Like those are supposed to be the things that haunt you. right, and play on your imagination. So I don't need it all explained, but I get it. Like, it'd be cool.
Mhm.
I get it was to avenge the indigenous settlers from before. Yeah.
Yes, that is what. But I don't know why Crawford was like wanting that. Because that's what we were talking about before. Like, I don't, and that's sort of why I think like he orders something that he knows could kill everybody in the town. Like if it's unleashed,
Yeah.
but he's like rolling the dice on if it's going to be unleashed or not, and that's why he doesn't answer the door because he like changes his mind and wants it delivered or wants it destroyed.
Chief Blackwater said his son would deliver evil upon the settlers and their descendants. Yeah. I was going to say Chief Blackwater.
Yeah.
That's the name I remembered, but I didn't know if it was 100%. And I was like, is that just going to sound like like some stereotypical chief name?
Native American name. Oh, no, it's Chief Blackwater.
Yeah, okay, I got
Yeah.
it. Oh, Blackwater, keep on rolling. I think we can move on to A Man in Slices. Yeah.
Has anything else to say.
If you got anything more to say, type quick. It's a ghost or a corpse is what I wrote because I was like, I don't know.
A ghost or a corpse.
Yeah, because like when it comes out, it's like, was there a corpse or is this a ghost? Is this like the ghost of the corpse or is this the corpse itself? Like,
is this the ghost inhabiting the corpse?
Yeah, exactly. I didn't know. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about this. We didn't mention that. He forces the delivery driver to drive him back to town.
Oh.
To kill more people.
Yes.
So I thought that was cool.
Well, yeah, that's like, he's like, go. And then he takes him to the party.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Man in Slices. All right. So we got Richard and Charles here, and we follow their very unique friendship. So
yeah,
I think the reason that this story works for the most part, right? Because I think we're all in agreement that the majority of the story's climaxes are anticlimactic. Unless somebody else feels different. But I think that we mostly all agree on this. But it is the characters that make these stories compelling and interesting to read until the end, where then they kind of become disappointing. But with this one, I feel like for me personally, I'm going to speak for everybody here, but for me personally, I think the reason that I can relate to this story is because I feel like everyone has that friend at some point in their lives where you have to kind of question, like, should I be friends with you?
Or you are that friend.
Or you are that friend. Yeah, if you don't have that friend, you are that friend. No, there's that friend that, like, you know, that you keep around and you question, like, why the fuck am I friends with this person? Right? And they doing like everything they can. You almost feel like you owe them something, or like that you feel like you're going to feel bad. I think this is a younger mentality because I don't feel that way at all anymore. I have fuck out of my life. But when you're like in your teens or like your early 20s, especially when you're like a kid, if you're like a good kid and you like want it, because I hate bullies. I've always been like an advocate against them, and like I'm always the guy that's friends with like the losers and the freaks and the castaways and yeah. And there are some people you get around, like Norma Bates. We're watching Bates Motel right now, and she's a perfect example where, like, Romero's around her, and it's just like, I know she's poison. I know she's bad news, but like, I can't get away from her.
Well,
but in this, it's not romantic.
No, it's not. And I do think it depends, because I think that mentality is a selfish one. And definitely in this story, I think that it's Charles, right? That's the friend. And Richard's the bad apple.
I think so. I can't remember
it's
which one's
kind
which.
of like a selfish, like so that he doesn't feel bad or guilty for not being his friend. Like, I know that he's like, I want to be his friend because like he doesn't have any other friends. Like,
Sure,
he
because
can't not be his friend. But
he's
I think
wanting
that's
to
why
he's wanting to like
because,
push him off onto anyone
like,
else,
he's got a
so the
girlfriend
burden
now.
is off of
but
his
it's
shoulders.
like entirely selfish. Like, it's
That
not
is.
a genuine
Yeah.
like, you know, you're just a reject. Like, I want to hang out with you.
Well, he feels responsible for him.
Yes.
Right? He feels responsible for him, and he wants to pass that responsibility on to someone else.
Yeah.
But as you said, it is kind of it's self-serving because he doesn't want to feel bad, and it is fairly ego-driven. Of like, you know, if something happens on my watch, it's my fault.
Yeah.
But if I can get him off onto somebody else, then I'm, you know, distancing myself, and I'm no longer an accessory.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it is more about him. Right.
Yes.
It's not so much like I want to make sure he's, you know, doesn't do something for him.
Mm-hmm.
It's I don't want him to do something while we're friends because it's going to make me look bad.
Right.
So I'm going to stay with him, you know, because I don't want to feel like a dick for leaving him, but I got to get rid of him as fast as I can so that it's somebody else's problem.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, that is an interesting element to this for sure. But let's see. Yeah, the scene where they're at the camp and everyone thinks that he's drowned, and he just kind of like sits off in the corner of this quarry or whatever the hell, lake or river or whatever the fuck they're swimming in, and he just kind of like sits and like,
oh my God,
like watches them all.
It's so evil, and like that's such a sociopath thing to do, like to see how people are gonna react to your death, but not in a like, I wonder if they'll miss me, like in a like, I want to see the ants like swarm, like I want to know how they behave. It's like he's you know, observing an experiment or something. It's
and that's just it. That's what makes it sociopathic, is that you lack the ability to have empathy, right? So you don't really care. This is what happens with a lot of great scientists, right? They're so smart and so disconnected from human emotion that they're more obsessive with the answer than the, you know, the price of getting the answer, right? So they can do these horrendous experiments like in freaking, you know, Nazi camps, you know, like Nazi doctors and whatever, scientists that were working in like concentration camps and doing these experiments. I mean, they're horrible people, of course, but like they're so focused on like the end goal and the observation and the experiment, that they don't care that they're hurting someone. They don't care that someone is emotionally distressed or physically and you know, in a lot of agony. So that is what is because it would be fascinating to be able to see like how people would react to your, you know, cry for help. Like, who would come? Who do we want? You know, who's going to be the guy who would save me? Who's going to be, you know, would my brother or my father or these people who I think would be in my corner and come to me no matter what?
I wouldn't want to see that. I have like no urge for that kind of a thing. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I just am like, I don't know. It feels like mean. I don't know, not mean. I mean, mean, yes, but like,
yeah,
I just don't like the way that feels.
But that's the empathetic part of you, right? That's the non-sociopathic part of you, is that what you're feeling there. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not going to speak for you, but like, you don't want your mother or your sister or any of these people to go through the pain of this or the lack thereof, and then find out that you're your loved one doesn't really actually care,
Yeah.
because that would hurt too.
Sure.
So maybe you just don't want to know the answer because
No,
it scares you.
Kind of like the boy cried wolf kind of thing. Like I don't like that. So, Allie said, "It is relatable for sure, but I'm with you, Jason. As I got older, I cared less and less about feeling like I have to stay friends with somebody." Yeah, that's definitely a mentality that comes with age and experience. You don't want to waste your time with people who aren't vibing with you.
I didn't have video like on the YouTube.
Oh,
like for us, is that what you're saying? Or
did you cut out?
Yeah.
But with this story, yeah, I don't know. I think he sticks with him too long. Clearly.
Oh, of course.
Like there's a lot of times when I think like even just like going off to college like that's a good like excuse, if you will, to be like we're just moving in different directions, like we're going to college and like leaving our hometown. Although I think he doesn't leave. He kind of like lives with his mom still. But anyway, wasn't it Charles that
weird
goes?
that Richard felt like he shook on it as a child.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, he made a life commitment.
Yeah, he did.
Right?
He did.
at a young age. But hey, I mean, a lot of people do this kind of shit. I talked about this all the time on the channel where, people seem to make these very like they decide at a very young age that like I don't like horror movies.
Oh, sure.
They see like The Exorcist when they're 6, and then you talk to them when they're 60, and they're like, I hate horror movies. And you're like, oh, really? How many? Like, what have you seen? And they're like, well, I saw The Exorcist when I was 6, and I haven't seen another one since. And and it's like you gauged an entire genre off of one film you saw when you were a fucking child. You haven't imagine, and I always throw this back at them. I'm like, imagine trying a fucking piece of pizza when you were 6 and it was like disgusting.
Yeah.
You hated it. And then you went like at 60 years old, somebody's like, oh, you want to get a pizza? I fucking hate pizza. I hate it. I had it when I was 6 and I haven't had it since. And it's like, you've never tried it again, never once to see if maybe your taste bud changed, to know if that was a bad pizza for you.
Yeah.
Like maybe it was a topping you didn't like. Maybe it was a rancid pizza from a gross place. What do you mean you haven't fucking had pizza since? Like who makes those kinds of decisions is when they're 6 for the rest of their life.
Oh my God.
But a lot of people do.
I don't know anything that I can't remember being 6 anyway, but the first thing I thought of with like commitments at a young age was actually it. And the losers being like, promise me like we're gonna come back. That was like the first thing I thought of.
That's something Kaylee and I talk about all the time. Why do people always cut their fucking palms in movies?
Yeah.
Like if you need blood from somewhere on your body, I'd go for like, I don't know, the top of the hand, maybe, or like maybe right here, like right here, just cut right here. Like the palm, that's such a horrible place to cut yourself because you move it around so much. You need it to grip things and all this, especially when they're in like adventure type stuff.
I know.
I'm like, dude, you're injuring your hand.
I know.
You need that shit.
This doesn't make sense.
Especially if it was like Uncharted or something. Like, how much does Nathan Drake use his hands?
All the time.
But yeah, the scene where he watches them freak out over his drowning, it actually reminded me of a scene in a movie called Empire Records, where this girl's like super depressed and she wants to die, and like her friends stage a funeral for her to like show her why she should continue, right? And she just kind of lays there and attends her own funeral just to see like kind of what people would say. Now that's not the same experiment,
right?
Because people are very aware that you're alive, and people would like definitely say specific things, because they know you're listening,
and they know.
But
that
then
you want to die.
People do the same shit at funerals. Like all of a sudden, everybody's a saint when they die. They're like, "Well, don't speak ill of the dead." Well, what if the dead is a fucking asshole?
Yeah, but I think, I mean, for some people, that's just like, you want to remember them at their best.
Some people don't have a
but
best.
I agree. If they don't have a best, then there's no point lying about it. But
I don't know why you'd be at their funeral
Yeah,
if they didn't
exactly.
have a best, personally.
Well,
But
yeah.
anyway,
Yeah, that scene really creeped me out when he was high, especially because he's a kid. And there's times when like Richard is just like he's just afraid of him. Like he's afraid of Charles.
sure. I mean, wouldn't you be if you were in a car with somebody and they jerked your wheel towards an animal in the road?
Dude,
that would be the end.
That is so awful. And he's like all excited about it, and then when they get out of the car, he's like, it's like he's having an orgasm or something.
Yeah, but then the animal's just
But
gone.
The animal's gone.
Like they never hit it because
Yeah.
there's like no blood, there's no anything. That was a really weird. I thought it was going to get supernatural at that
I
point
did too.
because they hit something, but then there was no evidence
Yeah.
that they hit anything.
Oh.
So I don't understand that. I was very confused because there's nothing supernatural about this story. But maybe what they hit was like the witch in the woods.
No. No, it definitely wasn't a great owl either. It was like a dog.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
We don't know if the doggo made it, man. It was a witch.
No.
A fucking witch, man. Yeah. Actually, the biggest tragedy of this entire story that would 100% be done for me is he kept costing him ladies. Yeah. Every time he would try to like talk to some chicks, his friend would come up and be really fucking weird.
Yeah.
And the chicks would be like, bye. And I'd be like, okay, dude, you're the biggest cock block. You're killing dogs. You're fucking you're fake drowning. Absolutely not. I draw the line at cock blocking.
No, what? That's no. It's
Yeah.
dogs.
Yeah, sure. I mean, at that point, because like when I lived in Lake Arrowhead years and years ago, I was hanging out with someone and they were driving and they were like told me like because we when we were in a mountain town and they were like, oh yeah, man, like I aim for rabbits.
That's insane.
And I was like, you ever aim for a rabbit when I'm in the car, I will fuck you up
God.
Here right now. And he was like, oh, you gotta get real serious about it. And I never spoke to him again.
Serious about it. Yeah.
I'm like, it's fucking life.
Yeah,
like what for you're just gonna take life
so
for
psycho.
no reason.
That's
right?
So psycho.
Like hunters hunt for food, right? A lot of them, some for sport, which is fucking insane and retarded to me. But like for food, totally. I totally get it. Anybody who eats meat and is like down on hunters who hunt for food can get fucked.
Sure, that's a different scenario for sure. But yeah, this hunting for sport, I'm very against.
Absolutely,
I think that's the lamest thing.
Absolutely, the only way that it works is something like, and I have mixed feelings on this. I'm not really sure how I feel about it, but it's like catch and release fishing.
I guess, yeah. I don't know.
I don't know how much agony they're in. I don't know, like, you know what I mean?
I don't know, but like if you had like a hook in your mouth,
sure,
you were pulled out of the atmosphere.
Sure, it's terrible.
Like all of that sounds horrible.
It does sound terrible.
I've told you this story before, but I one time was in a car with somebody who was driving that I really didn't like this person, and they were kind of like. The situation was like we were taking their parents' car, so like they were the only ones that were allowed to drive it, and it was like snowing really bad. And this was when I was in Colorado, the Rockies, and we were driving like kind of late at night, and she hit a rabbit because it was like white out, and she just was like laughing after she.
Oh
hit
my
it.
goodness!
And I was like,
"Are you sure it wasn't like just one of those kinds of responses?"
I don't think so, because we all kind of gave her shit after, and she was very nonchalant about it. And I like kind of legit thought I was gonna get into a wreck that night with her driving, because it was really scary.
Because you know how that is, right? You're laughing at a funeral, right?
Sure, I get that. I've laughed at funerals before, but like I'm not laughing at. I don't know. I don't think it was that, because this person also had
she just thought it was funny that it died. Like, I mean, that happens. Just crazy to me. The dog scene was sad until it got up. Did it get up? I mean, we hear it get hit, right? And then they go out to look and it's gone. And then there's no evidence that they hit anything. That's
remember
my
it, like,
memory of it.
standing up, but I remember it being gone.
Yeah, I remember it getting gone, but
Yeah.
I don't remember it getting up. But I could be misremembering. So was Andy made up? The girlfriend?
Mm. I think she was real. I don't know now. I said it and then I was like,
Well, doesn't somebody know? Wasn't somebody there that would like introduce them? Like they
Oh,
met.
yeah.
They met
They
at a
did
specific place.
They met and
They
then
met.
she left because she lived somewhere else.
So it's possible the communique
That's what's
is made up.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think so. I think he just met somebody who was, because and this is unfortunately from personal experience, I know what it's like with like the perfect storm of the two worst people meeting each other that are like perfect for each other. Right? My mother and my stepfather were like perfectly awful for one another.
Mm-hmm.
And so like when they met, it's that Mickey Mallory Knox from Natural Born Killers kind of thing where it's like, you just met that right kind of psycho for you.
Yeah.
I find it interesting that with as screwed up as this guy is, she wants body parts and he seems, I don't know, hesitant to go to the morgue to collect these parts for her. So it's almost like he has a line, but it's not a firm one, right? So it's not like he's completely psychopathic. It's like he has to be pushed a little, but not too much.
But then exactly. But then after he crosses that, then it's like kind of unleashes.
Which is pretty stereotypical, I think, for serial killers, right? Like they try to remain good for the most part. Of course, there's a couple that are just like, I'm a fucking psycho, I'm gonna kill everybody,
right?
And they're usually the ones that are caught like immediately. But like, usually it starts small and then they get a taste for it. And typically what happens in those scenarios is they freak the fuck out because they're like, I'm going to jail, whatever. And then they don't get caught.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that sets them off.
Right.
Is like, get away with this?
Yeah.
Ooh, I kind of liked it. And maybe I'll do it again. And then it's always usually like years before it happens again because they're like, I'm fucked, I'm getting caught. And then it just builds and then builds. And then once they do it the second time, then that's where it starts to snowball.
Yeah.
And they start doing more and more and more. And then they always get caught when they're fucking doing like 2 a week. There's like, they can't, the urge has expanded so much. And so with this, I feel like it's kind of a similar thing where he does the first thing, right? She wants some kind of body part and he goes and he
a finger,
right, procures it. And then she's like, okay, I also want this. And I also want this. And it's like, ooh, okay. But he still does feel, when he's telling the story anyway to his friend, it feels like he's unsure and kind of nervous, but in kind of a, like, I'm doing something bad, like fucking having sexual fantasies of like, doing the wrong thing, or you know what I mean?
He's doing like a taboo.
Thank you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just like, why would you ever, like, he can't ever go to her because he hasn't done any of the things she's asked for him.
Well, and that's just it. It's the lie, right? And that's what happens, right? And we've seen 100 movies like this, romantic comedies and horror movies and all sorts of things where the person is lying.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, eventually, I mean, the biggest example of this by far and away, of course, is Catfish.
Yes.
Right? Whether it's the Catfish movie or the Catfish television series or whatever, it's like these people know eventually they either have to stop the communication or they have to fess up if they want to ever meet this person, right? Because they're not the fucking, Russian supermodel that they've been sending pictures of. Yes. And it's eventually you're going to have to show up and be like, kind of a whale, right?
Or I'm not,
I'm nothing like I said I was.
Catfishing her with his fingers and other body parts.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
You have to draw the line somewhere. When someone starts scaring you, get the hell out of that relationship. Absolutely. You should never be scared of your partner or your friend or anybody like
Yeah.
close to you.
Right.
Did he ever outright lie? He pretended to die to mess with people, but I don't think he ever lied. I don't really remember that he did.
I mean, yeah, he lied. He lied
he
greatly.
He does.
He says he cut off his
that's
finger
the part that I
and
remember
sent
him
it to a
lying.
girl. He said that, yeah, I mean, he lies constantly.
Yes, he does lie constantly. But I think he was Gato was meaning like with Richard, but
to Richard,
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't remember.
Um,
I'm trying to like look through it really quick.
Yeah. So what I honestly thought was gonna happen here is that I thought that one of two things was going to happen. He was either going to have his friend cut his body parts off. Like, I can't bring myself to cut these things off. She's coming tomorrow, and I need to have these things cut off.
Yeah.
Right. As my friend, I need you to give these things. I need you to do this for me.
I thought that too.
Or the opposite is, I thought that he was going to be like, they took the bodies away. I need another body part. You're my friend, right? And he was going to go after his body parts, right? And then, or was that I think the first one that came to mind for me was the friend, because, and I thought this was going to be kind of like, this was going to be like an allegory, like the Giving Tree, right? Where the Giving Tree is essentially an allegory for parenting, and you give and you give and you give until there's literally nothing left. And even when there's nothing left, the kid still takes more, right? He sits on the stump. He's like nothing left, and he's still using like the remains of you.
Yeah.
And I thought this was what was gonna happen here, and it was gonna be kind of like an allegory for toxic relationships, and that like when somebody feels like they owe somebody something and they continue to keep taking, I thought that the friend was going to be like, I've stuck with you this long, and I thought he was going to offer up his own body parts to keep his friend,
I did too.
In love, because he was like, I owe it to you. Like, no one else will do this for you.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this for you. Like, this is my burden to bear. Yeah. I should have done something about this before, but now it's because of me that you're like this, and I will help you because I'm your friend.
Yeah.
That's where I thought this was going, for sure.
I definitely thought that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, if I do this for you, you'll leave me alone. Like, I'll get you with this.
Or even a price to pay.
Right.
Right? I give you these body parts,
yeah,
and you leave me alone. Like, I'll give you my fucking. I mean, he already cock-blocked him, so might as well give him that.
Yeah.
She wants my dick next.
Oh, no.
No.
Selena, you watched a lot of Catfish episodes. Me too. My sister and I used to watch that show all the time. We loved watching it, and it's definitely like one of the few. I never really was like a reality television person, but it's like I got really into Catfish for sure.
Oh yeah. When I went to see the original Catfish in theaters, we thought it was a horror movie. We walked into it thinking it was a horror movie, so we kept waiting. And when and I was like, "Wow, this is really good, like acting and everything." Yeah. And so then like when he was going to like check on her house and everything, and he was like going up in the night and looking through the thing, he drove up to her house. I was like, "Oh shit, this is where the chainsaw comes out." That would have been so funny. I really thought it was a fake scripted film. Now, I think it is. I think what I've heard with the Catfish film is that Neve essentially had this happen to him, and this was like a dramatization, a recreation of what had happened in certain scenes. But as far as the Catfish show goes, I've looked into the show, and they keep it as authentic as possible.
Yeah.
Neve and Max actually, like, they like the producers are aware of who the catfish is
Yeah.
when this show starts, but Neve and Max don't know, and they have to investigate it, and they have to look, and sometimes it'll take them 7-8 hours
Yeah.
day of going through things and figuring it out of who this person is. So
Yeah.
the investigatorial side of things, and they don't know who it is. It all, when they come to the door and all that, that's all
Yeah.
real to them.
I don't think Max is with it anymore.
He's not with it
unfortunately.
anymore,
I know,
but
because their dynamic, I think, was really great with the show. But
yeah,
we'll stop talking about catfish. But there's one episode in the first season that made me cry because I feel like it was so sad. It was just like the catfish. It was about a guy who had gained a ton of weight. He was like really obese. And the girl that he was talking to was like a high school crush sweetheart kind of thing that he had. And he was just like so ashamed of his weight.
is this the guy who died?
Yeah, I think so. And but he was like not catfishing as a different person, just like younger pictures of himself. That was all. But it was like really, really sad, and it messed me up. But then there's also episodes of that show that I'm just like, people are evil.
People are fucking evil. Yeah. I remember that one where the guy came out and was just like, I think it was in San Francisco or something, and he came out and he was like, I was just brushing up on my game.
Oh, sure.
Like I just do this to excel in my game so that I can go out and get laid. So he just has like a bunch of catfishing that he's doing to like bounce ideas. It's like
see like what
it's basically like going up on stage at a comedy, like an open mic night on a comedy stage. That's what a lot of comics do. They'll go up there and they'll throw out like, Dave Chappelle is famous for doing this. He'll go to comedy places and he'll just throw 100 jokes out.
Yeah,
and he'll see what laughs and what doesn't. And he'll just throw the jokes away that don't get the response and keep the jokes that does. And then he goes and does specials where he tells all the jokes that worked and all the jokes that didn't work, he leaves behind. And this is basically what this dude's doing, is he's going out and he's wasting these people's time, making them fall in love with them, saying a whole bunch of lines, and whatever they fall for, he's like, okay, I'll use that to get laid. Horrible. Just fucking horrible. Anyways.
Yeah.
I didn't expect the ending, but I'm not too surprised. What is the ending again?
He does he's like, I need more and I'm gonna get him from you. Like so Richard doesn't sorry, I keep like I literally just keep like swapping their names in my head. Richard doesn't offer anything to him, and Charles like asks, but he just takes it at the end and is like, I need more body parts.
Right, can't find an ear, breaks into his room and cuts multiple parts off of him.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the ending. So it's kind of ish like, but it has less of an impact versus like what you were saying, where like if Richard was like, all right, like fine, like I'll give you this body part, I'll give you until he has nothing left. Like I like that idea a lot more. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, Charles, it's not surprising.
It is a shame, Max.
Yeah, I stopped watching the show after that because I didn't like all the guests.
I watched
celebrity guests.
I think I watched most of them, but yeah, it's not the same. Charles was in the closet. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, overall, the ending was just kind of whatever for me, and kind of expected. Yeah. All right, moving on to Camp. Mind Comp. Okay. As far as Camp goes, or Comp, as Kaylee wants to keep saying, if we want to go, what does everyone want to go with? Camp or Comp? I would say Comp would be with an H.
Well, the only reason I'm saying Comp is because Camp I think of with a C, not a K.
Lame. No. Okay. So I think that the like idea and imagery that's created in Camp is great.
Yes.
I love this idea. And this is not, I can't remember what this reminds me of. If someone can think of this, that would be great. But like this whole idea that this guy has this apartment where he has this tremendous fear, and I totally get this as somebody who suffers with anxiety disorder, of this childhood phobia of being scared to death. He's going to get scared to death. Mm-hmm. And so he breaks down his entire apartment and keeps everything, straight shots so that nothing can hide behind anything.
Yeah.
The only discrepancy I have with that in here at all is he says he keeps nothing with a reflection.
Yeah.
But he also says he has a television, which has a reflective surface when it's off.
Yeah.
So unless he kept it on 24/7, right? You can't have a TV. I mean, I'm looking at a reflection right now in this television next to me. So that's the only thing when he's like, I keep nothing in my house that has a reflection in it. Bullshit. Right? Doesn't he have a microwave?
I think so.
I think he has a microwave that also has a reflective surface.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely. Yeah, it's a minor.
You'd have to have
you should have none of those things, or you'd have to cover them.
You'd have to cover them.
With, something. Yeah, I really liked this. This story's setup and idea. I thought it was actually really cool.
Oh, Allie read the audiobook and it was just camp.
All right, I'll stop being calm. Yeah, having everything in his sightline, like Selena said. I think that's cool. I was really into this setup, and I really believed his fear, and it kind of reminded me of when you're a kid and you're kind of trying to do things to prevent yourself from getting scared. You want to turn the hallway light on before you go, and put your feet up and under the covers and not dangle them off the bed. You kind of do all these preventative things to not freak you out, but by doing those things you kind of freak yourself out more, because then if you forget to do one of those things, you're like, oh my god, the monster's gonna get my toes.
I mean, I know of this kind of stuff from movies.
You never did it, but
no, I never had that kind of stuff.
Did that kind of stuff.
I didn't get scared of life until I was an adult. As a kid, I was never scared of anything outside of my stepfather. Right.
I was scared of stuff.
I wasn't, for sure.
Stuff that just kid stuff. My imagination just went crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That definitely happened to me a bunch. And even still, as an adult, especially if I watch a really effective horror movie.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
And I get imagery in my head, I get scared, and that stays with me. So I liked all of that with him. And I like the building of the tension and everything in this. Although I was super underwhelmed with the ending, which sucks, because I was when I was reading this, I was almost thinking this was gonna be my favorite story,
Yeah.
And then the ending just really disappointed me. I was I mean, I like it and I don't. It's weird.
So
I just felt underwhelmed by it.
Okay. I'm confused by what he sleeps on.
He sleeps on a glass bed.
Right, with no mattress.
Right,
because he says it hurts his back that he's sleeping on plexiglass.
Yeah.
Right, which would be reflective. But regardless.
And he has lights shining in specific places, so it might not be reflective depending on how he's got the lights positioned. That's
totally fine. I don't really care. I was just saying that as a joke. But as far as the bed goes, couldn't you just put a mattress on the floor?
Sure. Yeah.
I mean,
but maybe the fear, he needs to be able to see it, but
just put a mattress on the floor. There's nothing.
Yeah. And then there's nothing under the bed.
No, there can't be anything under the
Be
bed.
in the mattress. But
and that's what I had thought, is you'd have to get a thinner mattress to make sure there's nothing in there. Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, if you lived like this, where you couldn't even have covers on you, because I mean, look at movies where they pull up the covers and there's something there, right? So they could sneak up on you in that way.
Yeah.
I mean, you might as well just fucking kill yourself at this point. This is ridiculous.
He's crippled by it,
of course.
Sure. And I also thought, I thought that his landlady was going to be a ghost.
100%.
Or I
100%.
also thought maybe he's a ghost.
Yeah.
And the landlady's hearing him, and he's and she can see spirits or something, so she's talking to him and he doesn't know he's dead.
I 100%. Same thing. I thought that she was a ghost the whole time, and I thought it was going to be the most obvious twist that ever existed.
Yeah.
But it wasn't.
No, and he wasn't a ghost.
No. No.
He just was man.
Yeah, the plexiglass bed saw something. Yeah.
Through it, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when he's laying on it with a blanket, he
I
can
know.
pull the blankets over and there can be something under the bed.
Absolutely.
And you'd see it.
That would
If there was a
be even
mattress on it,
worse.
it would at least block what's under you.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't want to
for
be able to see
him-
through my bed.
No. You just see a creature
Like
under
imagine
there.
a kid who's like, there's a monster under my bed and they just look straight through their bed.
And they see the monster? No.
I'm surprised he didn't get like
for him it's the not knowing.
You know what he should have had for blankets? Is like plastic wrap, yeah, like a tarp that you use for painting, but like a clear one, and you just put it over yourself, but you can see through it.
Yeah.
Right. So that way, like you're looking through. That would have been cool. That would have been a cool thing. He needs to go live in that house from 13 Ghosts.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. This kind of reminded me of 13 Ghosts a little bit. Just
you have to be naked all the time though, because they could hide in your clothes.
I know they could.
Right.
They could.
Walking around in a glass house with nothing on.
Yeah.
Just be a spectacle for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ending was meh. I didn't catch that he doesn't sleep on a mattress. That's weird.
Yeah.
Why not just put it direct? Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah,
The ending was meh for sure.
Yeah.
Because especially the instant he like drops his, is it scissors or a knife? It's a knife. The knife. When he drops the knife and it like flies out of like his hands or whatever and goes under the bed, I'm like, oh, he's just gonna forget that that's there and then look over at it and freak himself out.
Yeah.
So I was just like, and I do like that he scares himself to death, like that he's his own downfall. You know, like that's the part that I'm like, I'm okay with that. But it was like really rushed, I think, too. Is the other part.
I like this. I like this idea of him having this fear that his mom or his dad has come to visit him. Right, in a friendly way, but that he scares himself to death by not recognizing them because they've either aged backwards or forwards. Right, and they're unrecognizable to him. So his mother, who's coming to be, loving to him and be there just to visit her son, could scare him to death because he's seeing a woman he has no
memory,
familiarity with,
recognition of.
Yeah, I like that.
I did too, especially because he's got such a great relationship with his mom and not with his dad, so it's kind of like, you would want to see your mother after she passed to like, for many reasons, to know that there's an afterlife and that she's okay and all of that stuff, but then him not really wanting to have an interaction with his dad, like both of those are a cool contrast.
Do you think that he became like a town historian essentially to like try to learn everything he could about the potential ghosts in town?
Maybe. It seems like he just loves history though.
Yeah.
I didn't really get, because he talks about things that would have been like with Blackwater and stuff. You'd think he would be scared, but he's not. I don't know. He's also kind of like, he does say that like Goblin, has so many ghosts.
I think it's really screwed up that, he finds out that, his family's favorite pastime is telling these scary stories.
Yeah.
And then he finds out that everyone in his family's been lying to him and no one has seen a ghost. They're all like, we were just fucking around.
It's awful.
And he's like, I ruined my life.
So terrified of it
because of these ghost stories.
Yeah.
And you're telling me you guys all just played along, like, which is, that's horrible. It's horrible. But like, at the same time, like, it's his fault. Yeah. I feel bad for him, but it's like, it's just like a family tradition to be like, I saw a ghost.
It is just, and I guess like, doesn't he say something about how like people just like, or his sister is like, people just like telling those kinds of stories? But like, I don't know. I definitely am somebody who's like, I don't want someone to lie to me and tell me a fake ghost story. Like I want them to tell me something that they think is real.
Well, as you know, I think everybody's ghost story is fake.
I know, but like I would be really pissed to find out like if my sister was telling me this crazy story and then like years later she's like, oh no, like I made all that up. I'd be like, what? I believed you.
Yeah.
Because I want to believe.
Do I think that the people who are telling me their ghost stories believe them? Probably most of them do.
I know, like how many people are out there telling ghost stories that are actually
a lot.
There are a lot of people.
Ed and Lorraine Warren. People like this.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, 100% they're making shit up to sell books and to sell their whatever. He thought he'd secured his apartment and Miss Doris was just letting herself in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's, yeah. He's like, why?
He's too paranoid.
He's so paranoid. I have to run to the restroom really quick.
She's not running. She's walking. She fucking lies. So is there anything else anybody wants to discuss here before we move on from camp or comp? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I liked the concept. I liked the house. I like the imagery that it's set up. I like this apartment where he's pulled down the walls. I don't know why Miss Doris doesn't get more upset with the fact that he's trashed the place, right? Like it says that he's like dismantled walls, and I think he's just renting, right? So like if my landlord walked in here right now and I had ripped down walls, I would be in a lot of trouble. So he took down a wall in it, didn't he? Babe? No. He took down a wall.
Yes.
Right? And isn't Ms. Doris his landlady?
Yeah,
Shouldn't he be like evicted?
I was wondering that too, because he like takes down a wall and he takes out like doors and stuff, and she like watches him and is just kind of like.
That's why I thought she was a ghost.
Right.
Because I was like, why is she not reacting the way a landlady would?
Oh, sure, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, can you imagine if we just started like
just knocking walls down,
stuff out? Yeah,
just knock this wall down. We just thought that the bedroom should, the living room should just be bigger. Yeah, he wrecked the place, but prepaid. That's right. You can't prepay your freaking walls.
No, you can't prepay the walls, but you can prepay.
You can prepay. Of course, you can prepay in advance. Your landlord's never going to not take money. But I can't be like, I'm just going to give you a year's rent up front, and then I'm going to knock all the walls down. That's not. It would be like, no. This reminds me of the movie Pacific Heights with Michael Keaton. Right, he pays some shit up front and then just starts. Well, Kaylee hasn't seen it. Kaylee and I need to get into the '90s thriller movies because great stuff. I just wish more stuff happened with Miss Doris, or there was more mystery with the character, like she ended up being super. Okay, I'm with Kaylee on the fact that I'm totally good because the way the story plays out. The fact that his family never saw a ghost and it was all made up, and that he literally scares himself to death because he's made these stories real in his head it's the irony. It's what makes the story. So I don't have any issue with the fact that it's not supernatural. In fact, because of how the story plays out, I'm totally fine with it being supernatural. One of the only issues I have with, not being supernatural. The only issue I have with that is that other stories in Goblin are supernatural, right? So like his family is like, there's no ghost. Like we never saw a ghost, but then we get supernatural ghosts. Literally, the wraparound is ghosts.
Yeah. What would have been cool is if after he died, then like in one of the other stories, there's some mention of like that apartment being haunted by his ghost. Like he becomes the ghost.
Right, he scares people to death. Yeah, I would have liked him to have been the ghost in the wraparound. Yeah. He's like, I was scared to death. Now I'm gonna scare everybody else to death. All right. Does anybody else have anything else to say about comp? It's because you wanted this to be free. You wanted it comped. All right. the story within a story was more interesting. Basically, Goblin
Mm.
should never have been occupied. Oh yeah.
Yes,
I did like
I
this.
did like this.
This
a
was
lot.
very like Poltergeist.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I liked getting the backstory of Goblin.
The land is cursed, I tell you.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why they're all doomed in the end. What is this further bullshit you're doing right now?
Further?
Yeah, that's what the faces in the further look like when they look around.
Oh, that's true. They're like
okay. Yeah, we also learned the key to the city is missing, right? That plays into the last story, which is the cover.
Yeah, I like the cover.
Right,
I said that like really softly. In the
so the girl on the front is the little girl who solves Esme's, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
happy birthday, Hunter.
happy birthday, Hunter.
But his name is Neil.
Yeah, Neil
I called him
Page
Hunter earlier.
from Planes,
Neil
Trains, and
Nash.
Automobiles.
No.
So okay, Neil, Bob and Neil. That was an old joke. You ever?
Oh, I just got it.
Yeah, with my good old friends Bob and Neil, or Neil and Bob. Sorry, Neil and Bob.
Bob and then you knew.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Happy birthday, Hunter. We got the birthday party to end all birthday parties.
The big 6-0.
This reminds me of something like God. They're trying to remember what story this is where like something gets so big that it becomes like an entity all to itself. Like, and that was actually probably my favorite part of this story was like how the party became kind of like a living being. And like the party kept raging and getting bigger as it kind of consumed time and the space. And like I don't know, there was something about the party going on around that was the most interesting thing to me, where it just felt like it literally became like its own entity and the party just kept growing. There's something I watched where this happens, where the party just continues to keep growing and becoming its own entity. I don't remember.
I don't know.
It's not the LMFO video where every day I'm shuffling.
It's not that.
Where the party keeps growing and everyone's shuffling. You don't know that music video?
No, I don't.
What? That's so fucking good. So funny.
Yeah, I mean.
Anyway, sorry. Go on with
I just
you do the setup.
The setup?
Yeah, talk about the actual story. That's not the story.
So Neil Nash is turning 60, and he's like a wealthy dude in town.
Yep.
So his wife and him, but I guess mostly his wife, arranges like this massive party for everybody to come and get crazy, and there's drugs and alcohol and sex
and a lot of meat
and a ton of meat. He's got like a meat cake.
A meat cake, yeah.
Which sounds awful. This sounds so gross. That reminds me of something too, but I can't remember what. There's some.
This is like Lady Gaga showed up in her meat suit, and they were like, "You are perfectly dressed for this occasion."
Yeah, pretty much. And he's obsessed with catching and stuffing a great owl.
Yeah.
That's like the one animal that he's never caught. And because it's forbidden for people to go into the North Woods. And so he's like, gets his hunting buddies, his drunken hunting buddies, to go with him to the North Woods and hunt for a great owl. And the friends are concerned that it's the witch that's in the woods. That makes it whispers stories too. That makes your heart explode. I like that. I do too. Like that idea. I like when she comes, back later in the other story.
Sure, but unfortunately, in that story, when she talks to him, his heart doesn't explode.
No, because he stops her from finishing. He drops the key. But anyway, in this one though, I thought that this was really messed up how Neil, I mean, like, it makes sense, right? He's so obsessed and so like tunnel vision for a great owl that he like lets one of his friends die and like doesn't even care about it.
Yeah.
Which is really messed up.
Sure, because his eyes get like plucked out by an owl.
They all the owls swoop down because he puts like the velvet jacket that he was wearing.
Right.
Like that guy, the one who discovers them, who brings them over from overseas. I do like the description of the owls too. I thought that they were cool, and I like that
the red eyes,
and that they're like big carnivores. I mean, owls are carnivores, but like they ate a cat and stuff like that. Like they're so dangerous. Yeah, the meat description. Yeah, it's too much too much.
Well, it's just showing their obsession.
A meat cake, like it just, I guess, like meatloaf.
Right.
But that's not like a cake. It's not like
they make it. Don't you make it in a cake pan?
But you do make it in a cake pan.
Yeah, meatloaf is it, and you even do like icing, but it's like ketchup.
Oh, it's ketchup, yeah.
Yeah. I haven't had meatloaf in a long time, but I do like it. I haven't had it since I was a kid.
Yeah, neither have I. I don't eat meat.
That's something your mom always makes when you're a kid. It's like fucking making a meatloaf, and it's like, oh, we're not having beef stroganoff, hamburger helper tonight, and sloppy joes. Pretty much just put friggin' like hamburger meat together with like some kind of tomato sauce.
Yeah.
And some kind of like pasta or bread or something. And that is fucking 99% of the meals you get made as a kid.
If you grew up in like the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, if your family was poor, you did hamburger helper, sloppy joes, meatloaf.
Yeah.
Right. And then you did like Hungry Man dinners, or like, remember the I always loved those. I was always such a big on the frozen dinners because of the
brownies,
the brownie, or like the apple crumble.
You're talking about kid
or kid cherry pies, which would always be too fucking hot when I bit into it and burned the roof of my mouth because I went for that first.
I was back in the 80s and 90s was when like fast food was also like actually affordable, because then you could also get like McDonald's.
Sure. Happy Meal was actually made you happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Neil's sacrifice. Nobody wants to talk about that.
I know, really.
Yeah, Neil sacrificed Harvey like Charles and Richard. I was hoping that would happen to him at the end. No, I mean, this is another one where the ending is so fucking blah to me. Where I was like, his wife, he went out and he killed the owl, and he's like, I'm the first, even though I can't really tell anyone because everyone's gonna be like, you're an asshole, right?
Yeah.
You're going to jail because it's an endangered species. And his wife's like, no, I'm a bigger piece of shit because I did it first.
Well, I do like the ending because it's kind of like in camp, like his hubris sets him up, right? And he underestimates the love his wife has for him. How his wife gets, I mean, she is the wife of this like world-class hunter, so I guess he's taken her hunting and she knows how to do it. And really she just had to go into the North Woods and find one. But it is kind of funny that she like is very nonchalant about it.
I don't know how she got out without being scathed.
I know.
Right? Like how was she not attacked?
She's like not afraid of the witch, wasn't afraid of the owls. I thought that the whole wood scene was cool. I wouldn't want to be the guy left behind holding the rope. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
And he's just like pull on, because that's the whole thing, right? Is in the past when they pulled on it and it was.
What are they going in? They going into the fucking upside down? Or are they going into fucking you got some kind of interdimensional portal in here? We're gonna have to take a look.
Oh yeah.
Bill the electrician from House 2.
I really wanted to
fucking love that movie.
I like the description of the woods too, because in this story, as well as the one in the hedges, it's like you'll be running and you think you're going downhill, but you're going uphill. Like the terrain is like really confusing.
Very Blair Witch.
Yeah, very Blair Witch is what I was thinking. So I liked that. And what else happens? I don't know. I mean, like the party stuff is just like people are partying and Neil's like plotting. Really, like the main part of the story is him. I mean, we do get information though about how the Great Owls come to Goblin. Which I don't know. I mean, it's helpful, I guess, to have because it's like they're an invasive species,
Yeah.
which is cool.
Yeah. I don't know. Allie says the ending was satisfying, or I don't have a, I don't know. I found it to be blah, but like, I think it was just, I think as a character piece, and if we're focusing on Neil completely, which we are as as the main protagonist of this story or antagonist, I'm not really sure. He, his whole goal is, to get this owl and to be the first, because that's his aim. Ha 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 ha. And he gets to find out that like his lifelong dream is stolen from him by his wife. Right. So it's this big, great tragedy. But I think where my disconnect comes from is, this is my own fault, right? But it is that thing where it's like, I don't give a shit. Right, because I can't relate in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
But I need to. Yeah. In order for this to work, I have to believe that this is his main goal. This is his big, his big moment.
Yeah.
And she blows it for him, and it's a huge deal to him. But I'm sitting there like, fuck you.
Well, I think that's the satisfying part, is that he doesn't get what he wants in the end because
sure.
he is a piece of shit.
Sure. So that I like.
It's hard to relate for sure.
How did Saul find his way out? We don't know. We haven't finished Better Call Saul season 6 yet. We're on it though.
If he's the guy that's just like at the edge.
He's the one with the rope.
Yeah, right. So he's not like very deep in, and he just leaves. He ties it to a tree, right, and then he leaves.
No, he decides he's gonna leave, and then he comes back.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
And goes in after them. I think he just runs out. I don't know, or follows Neil out, but they all get.
He's just running. They just run.
Don't they all get in the car and drive back?
No, he ends up having to walk because Neil gets there first and he steals the car where the other guy has just been sleeping in the whole time. So Saul walks back. Okay.
He just gets out. The other guy doesn't get out because he's dead.
He's not dead, but he's like dead tired.
No, the guy who dies.
Oh, yeah.
The guy who's torn apart by owls. Yeah. No, I don't have a lot to say about this one.
Yeah,
it kind of happens, and that's it.
I was like, I kind of sped through it.
There's only the ending for me. Yeah. It's just the owl is killed by the wife first, and he's not the first. Right? He's not the explorer who discovered Pompeii. Right, or whatever the fuck, or the first guy to the top of Everest. He finds out there's like a colony up there.
He's like, "What are you guys doing?"
I mean, imagine those first two guys that climbed Everest and they got up there, and there's just like a fucking tribe of people living up there. Be like, bro, what? And they're like, you didn't see the ladder back there, the stairwell? There's an elevator. We built years ago. You didn't take that? You fucking idiots. Amber's here.
Amber, hi.
We're 3 stories in, Amber. Where you been?
Just talking about Happy Birthday, Hunter.
Where you been? You got that kitty. What's this kitty's name?
Little kitty.
Neil was obsessed with emulating Jonathan's success. Yes. I think Jonathan had a rapport with the owls. They weren't just attracted to red velvet.
Yeah. Jonathan actually had like a connection with them, and it wasn't the red velvet. Like,
was it a sexual connection?
Well, because like Jonathan didn't want to kill them. He wanted to save them. So I don't know why Neil would think that they would just come to him. They don't want to die.
The cat's name is Grant, everybody.
Like you, Grant.
Yeah, that's granted. Okay. So, anybody have anything else to say about Happy Birthday, Hunter? Just go ahead and type it. We'll get back to it if you do. Moving on to the best story, because I said so. Presto. I know I am behind, but I really like the story Man in Pieces. Yeah. We talked
Oh.
about that 4 or 5 hours ago, didn't we? Yeah.
We've been talking a long time.
We have been
But yeah.
talking for a while. We're an hour and 40 minutes in, but
I really like Man in Pieces. Okay.
that's great. That's great. Yeah. Well, what did you like? We can read it. Tell us what you thought of each story individually, all the way up until Presto, which we're going to talk about now. So start typing away, Amber. Catch up.
Presto.
You tell us about
You
the
did.
prologue and the epilogue. Tell us Man and Slice's camp. Happy birthday, Hunter. So type up what you thought. Catch up. Yeah, obviously. See, Allie knows what's up. Her and I,
Presto was.
we're good on this one.
Yeah.
What's your favorite one?
I think it's in between Presto and the Mix Up at the Zoo.
Oh.
I liked a lot of.
What?
We'll get to it.
Bro.
What? Really
okay. We were discussing this as we read it, and she straight up was like, this Mix Up at the Zoo one that I'm reading now, I don't know about this one.
I told you.
I don't like this one.
Listen. Well, we'll get there.
And now it's your favorite.
Started not liking it a whole lot, and then I really like this part of it that like I just think there's some really cool imagery and I was really into it. But the ending is also still like meh for me. Like all the endings are like somewhat meh, but Presto is definitely like I think the best one.
That's
but I like the hedges too. Like I like parts of all of them. I didn't really hate though. Maybe my least favorite is Happy Birthday Hunter, I guess.
Yeah.
But like I like parts of all of them, and I think Presto is probably the better one of them all.
So what I like about Presto for sure is kind of this contagious passion, right? I'm a big advocate for do what you love, and you know everything else will follow, right? And passion is contagious, right? So like having this kid who's obsessed with magic and he reads all the magazines and he's practicing the tricks and he knows all of like the smaller acts and he follows everything everybody does, and he has this like mentor teacher kind of guy that he goes to. This is a classic story we've seen done in tons of stories. Stranger Things, when they have the kids that go to their science teacher and they're like making the ham radio and everything together and all that kind of stuff. Like I love that kind of stuff, right? It's that like that connection through passion is always contagious. And having this kid who's like obsessed, and we all have that thing, right? Like the band that comes into town, or the movie for me, where it's like I'm seeing this fucking movie, right? Like, and I've went to great lengths many times to see films, right? Where I'm like, oh, Quentin Tarantino's releasing a 70 millimeter print of the Hateful Eight, right? And he's doing this roadshow presentation on Christmas. I'm fucking going. I don't care where I have to go, so I'm driving 2.5 hours to go see this fucking thing, because it's like when you have that passion, when you have that excitement for something, and I love that. I love reading about that, especially through the eyes of a child, right? And then the story with Roman emperor, and his whole story with his father, and seeing this man in rags, and it's what inspires him and gets him his love for magic, and he like dedicates himself to it, and he goes behind his dad's back and he cheats at chess with his dad to win his approval, and he like lives in a factory at night where like freaking Phantom of the Mall, Eric's Revenge, right? He's like living in this place at night, practicing his magic for a bunch of mannequins so that he can pretend to have an audience, and he ends up just bombing and sucking because he never really factored in the human element and all that kind of stuff. I loved all that stuff. I loved all that stuff. That stuff was really rich and connective, and endearing, and I loved it.
Yeah, I did too. I definitely really like those parts of this story. I also really like the like drama with the magicians and everything. Like people saying that Roman Emperor does dirty magic, and like this kid kind of followed. Like I liked learning about the magical community. I thought that was really cool. And
Amber, I did I think it was you that asked the question. Let me confirm to make sure here, but was it not you that asked what day are we doing it? Yeah, you said, well, will you please post the date and time when we are doing this? And right below that, like 5 minutes later, literally, you said this at 9:19. At 9:24 a.m. I said April 28th, 6 p.m. Arizona time.
Yeah. Well, we can put it.
So there you go. I very much put the date right below. I answered you within 5 minutes. So I'm sorry that you missed it, but I very much did. And I posted about it in addition to that. So sorry if you missed it. So let's move on from that.
But I thought the magicians like community was cool to see. Like the pettiness between all of them and everything.
Sure.
How Roman's just like, I'm doing real magic.
He's doing dirty magic.
He's like, it ain't dirty, it's real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay. Can someone explain to me what dirty magic is?
Yeah.
Because I'm not getting this. Do they actually think that he is using real magic and that's cheating?
Yeah. Well, no.
Or do they think that he's like, what? Because he does all of his tricks out in front of everybody. Like, there is no such thing as dirty magic. Like, the only way that I would see it as dirty magic for me is, for instance, David Copperfield years ago, he did this thing where he made the Statue of Liberty disappear, right? On live on television or whatever. And the way that he did this was he rotated the stage and had his audience in on it. And they were all like, oh my God, how'd you do that?
Yeah.
Right. And so even though it's a trick, it's disingenuous because it's like, and there's a lot of gags like this where they do them on television and the guy's levitating and then they show a scene where so one foot pushes on the other foot. And so in street magic, when you do that in front of someone, it makes you look like you're levitating just from the trick of the angle of the light. Yeah. But then when they show it on television, they'll show him start to do the street magic trick, but then they'll cut to a scene where he is being lifted by like a machine, which no one on the street would be seeing. It's only edited for television to make it much more grandiose for the audience watching on TV. That's fake. Right. That's dirty, right? Because you're not performing that trick in front of an audience.
Right.
But if you can trick your audience right in front of them, like there is no dirty magic. Yeah. You're just came up with a more clever way. It doesn't matter what you're using, strings, pulleys, fucking smoke. It doesn't matter. Yeah. It's an illusion. So the only way it would be dirty to me is what I said, which is not the case here, or they legit think he's using real magic and that's an option to them, but they wouldn't do that because that's like beneath them. Right, exactly. Like you sold out your soul to do dirty magic. We're magicians. We learned how to do the real shit, like the fake shit, but make it look real. And you sold your soul, which is, fucking us over because we're like the real magicians. And you're the one that's going out there. So in my eyes, they have to believe he's like sold his soul to dirty magic. To them has to be real magic. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. That's what would make the most sense to me because I couldn't figure it out either. And I think that's what everybody looked up what dirty magic was and couldn't find definition. Black magic, right, Amber? Yeah, like black magic.
But that's the same thing, right?
Dirty magic.
He thinks that they think he's doing actual magic, but they know the cost of what that is. Maybe they because that's what they should have said. Like, he came to me too. Right. But I would never pay that price. Right. And you paid that price. It's like they look down on him because he sold his soul. Yeah. That would make sense, but that's never outright, explicitly said. Right. But I guess that's for us to fill in.
Yeah. I guess that's what is implied.
Because I don't understand what dirty magic would mean otherwise.
I know. It sort of just otherwise feels like they're all just ostracizing him anyway because they just
Or they're just jealous. Yeah.
I mean, like they're all just saying like he's doing dirty.
He's doing magic we can't figure out.
Right.
And we wish we could do it that well.
Yeah.
So it's dirty.
Which is
It's not dirty.
No.
There's no such thing.
Yeah.
The illusion is better. It's better.
Yeah.
Whatever mirrors and smoke or whatever bullshit you have to do, unless you have to like drug your audience, you know, give them some fucking like shrooms in their drinks, and they're like, whoa, bro, what are you doing to the colors in this room?
That would be really dirty magic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Weird phrase for sure. Definitely was like kind of throwing me off when I was reading it.
He definitely sold his soul to the devil. I mean,
Yeah.
He's feeding this thing dead bodies, which I didn't really understand that. He was like, okay, so I didn't get this. So he's gifted some like naked babe on his doorstep who then becomes like his muse, so to speak. Like she becomes his face of the act,
yeah,
right? Because he has no personality, so she's gifted to him. Is he fucking her? Because she comes to his room like naked, and he gets in bed with her. Are they romantic together?
No, I don't think so. I think she's like
because that's dirty magic.
She's like a demon. She's like not like. She does. I don't think they have a relationship like that. I didn't get that feeling. I felt like because I feel like all he really cares about is becoming a famous magician, really, and making a successful career and being the best magician. Really.
I mean, what's the point of being given a naked demon if you're not screwing her?
I mean, she's a demon. So
that means she's probably demonic in bed.
I don't know. But
he can't touch her physically? Really?
I don't remember that.
He can't touch her?
I could have missed it, but I didn't remember that. Is that right?
It
might be.
I don't remember that.
I literally just finished this week, but I'm like, it's because there's so many stories.
Oh, it scalded his hand when he touched her?
Oh, okay.
That could add some kink with his penis.
Well, they definitely aren't doing anything together.
No, they aren't. I'm just being my perverted self. But yeah, so when he's pulling bodies out of coffins and shit, the ones that are like buried standing up and all that, like he's just giving her dead bodies. And then it's like, now I want kids.
No, it's like they're emptying the graves so that they can put fresh, like the people that are being
that go to
are going to those graves instead.
Right. So there's people just missing from every magic show. I feel like that is gonna get caught on to pretty quick. The guy who went disappeared from your magic show never was seen again. 18 shows in a row.
Yeah.
Please come with us, sir.
Well, and it also feels like there's a lot of people missing because it's like, how many bodies is he like switching out,
Well, in the last one, he empties a ton of
Goblin
graves.
Cemetery.
This almost reminded me of Phantasm with all the empty coffins and everything in town. But yeah, I mean, so yeah, the end of this one, he's killing all the kids. Do we think that our main kid here is one of the kids that gets disappeared? I mean, he wants really badly, but he never gets called. He doesn't know what he's electing for.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I thought that Roman's interaction with him was like, I'm gonna spare you, like because you're like you have the love for me. I thought
that what he gave him was gonna be like a reminder or like a protectant or something.
Oh, maybe,
right? Because he gifted him a coin.
Yeah.
Right? He tossed a coin to the witcher.
To the child.
Yeah, to his child.
Yeah.
Oh, Valley. So I thought that coin was going to come up again, but it didn't.
It didn't. It was just a keepsake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it?
Let's see. They performed the show in small towns to keep below the radar, maybe only killing one or two per show. Yeah, they you're right. They do play in small towns. So
Yeah, but you're still like, he's still a recognizable name that's in like Magic magazines, and like when you come to town and the person who went missing from the thing, that's gonna get connected pretty quickly, right? Because it's gonna be a big deal that someone was missing.
He's also becoming like more and more infamous.
Sure.
Because like everybody in Goblin seems to know who he is.
They say the cemetery in Goblin, they are buried standing up. That thought definitely crossed my mind. No one is looking for the missing people. Yeah, 100%. I thought it implied everyone in the last show was about to die. Yeah, I thought maybe that was the case.
Since they got rid of
I thought it was
bodies.
I thought it was like a Halloween 3 thing, where like it was all the kids. He just wanted kids.
I mean, yeah, it definitely felt like, because like the parents were like, "Don't you want to disappear?" And like, all that was really creepy.
Like this is this
like,
is
no,
some
they're really
storm of the century, freaking Halloween 3, right? Like they're going after the kids.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's what I got too. I got the children for some reason was the.
Because
this last one, because there's so many kids.
Because the thing wants like purity. It wants the kids.
Yeah.
Right.
It always wants the kids.
It always wants the kids. Us adults. We're just not scrumdiddlyumptious anymore.
Nope.
They performed the show. Yeah, we already said that. Left up. Sorry, can have been 1 or 2 if they empty all those.
Goblin.
Yeah, in Goblin
we don't know
they killed.
How many they were emptying, but
he said quite a few.
Yeah.
It was like 5 or 6, or like he like a bunch of, I forget. They said like a number.
Yeah.
Of like bodies that were lifted into the air. That was a cool image.
Yeah.
When he was like lifting them into the air.
I liked that. And he like enjoys it too.
It's like a sorcerer.
He's like happy with his power when he's doing that. Like, doesn't he say that that's like when he's at his happiest is when he's in the graveyards? Like
ultimate cosmic power. Itty bitty living space. Yep. Also, didn't the woman really enjoy when the bodies were swapped out?
She did.
His Maggie, she came.
She was like having sexual feelings from it. She's like, I like the death.
I like the pain.
She enjoyed it very much.
So did I guess. I'm always perverting stories, I guess. That's how I read every story.
I'm like, oh, they're really enjoying it.
Yeah. But yeah, let me look at my notes really quick. I did take notes for every one of these, but I keep checking on the basketball game. So shit, this is a blowout. Fuck. Where is this? Let's see. Okay, did you guys get the impression? Because I didn't understand. I wasn't sure what to make of the chess scene with his father. Was the father proud of him that he beat him, or was the father aware that he beat him with his magic and was proud of him for using his talents to win the game?
That's what I thought. I thought he was proud of him for beating him with magic.
So like he knew he got hoodwinked.
At the end, yeah, he realized that it was
because he said I realized what happened.
Yeah.
When I read that though, I was like, he realized what happened. Like his son actually beat him for once, or he cheated.
Like he cheated, with
but then he gave him a hug. He was like, "Oh wow, you'll go far because you fucking do dirty magic."
Yeah, he was like really proud that he was able to beat him with magic.
He was aware that he beat him with magic and was proud of him. Okay, that's what I thought. The father knew he cheated. Okay, when I read that line of he realized what happened, I was like, realized that he beat him, or realized that he cheated.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk more about this.
She enjoyed it.
How much did she enjoy it? And did it get descriptive? No.
You read it.
I did.
She was just like,
I don't know how you cheat at magic, though. Like, as I said, the television stuff is cheating.
Oh.
Right? But, like, you can't cheat on stage.
Well, okay, what would have made more sense is if they were all real magicians and he was doing fake magic and passing it off as real magic. Because I don't know why doing real magic would be cheating. Because any kind of fake magic trick is cheating.
Yeah.
You're not doing real magic, right?
Right. I don't know. Fuck if I know. The dad like makes him swear like you won't make money with it, but he makes money. He's like, I don't want you to live like a poor loser.
I thought he said make money with it. That's what I
I thought so too. That's what when I read that I was like, make
I don't want you to be one of those poor, lame,
never make
too
little. Yeah. I could be wrong on that though. Too. But we both remember that, so we gotta be right. Okay, also the devil that he sells his soul to is like a woman and then a man. That was interesting.
I like don't remember that. Sorry, that's my foot.
Oh, it's okay. No, he's like turned around and then he's like facial features were more male now.
Oh yeah.
Remember?
Right. Yeah.
This was like it went from a woman to a man. It was like a woman needed to sell him on it, and then a man is what betrayed him. Like a woman is like, you know, he uses a female's appearance to become like to be more appealing, right? And then his true self is a man because inside men are evil and women are conniving. That's what that's saying. That's what it's saying right there. I don't think it's the devil. I thought it was a personification of death.
Oh, okay.
Give me them bodies. The death is just too lazy to go get them for himself. He's like, just fucking bring me the death.
Yeah.
Use that dirty magic.
Use that dirty magic I gave you. Bring me more bodies.
Yeah. And yeah. I guess that's that. Anything more?
Nope.
No.
Not from me.
No. Okay. All right, moving on to a mix-up at the zoo. I'll let Kaylee lead this one since it's her favorite story she ever read.
What? I said it. I like parts of it. I did have a hard time getting into this in the beginning, and I like parts of the ending is all. That's what I was really into. And I mean, I guess I like some parts throughout too. Like so Dirk Rogers is like the devil can transform to get what he wants, like in Devil's Advocate. Yeah. For some reason, I was thinking of isn't it Bedazzled?
Oh, with Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
That's a remake too. I've seen both. The one with Dudley Moore. But yeah, I've the Elizabeth Hurley and Brendan Fraser one.
I haven't seen that one in a long time, but I used to watch it. So in a mix-up at the zoo, Dirk Rogers is like this really big. The nightmares were weird.
Yes.
Is this really big, kind of like not super smart guy.
He reminds me of Mice and Men. Lenny.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's just.
Isn't that what he get? He's Lenny from Mice and Men.
Yeah, he's like really simple. And his friend.
The one from Green Mile.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So his friend like convinces him to switch jobs with him because he's initially like the garbage man.
It's a mix up at the zoo.
And his friend is like the what do you call them? What is he? He's the tour guide. And so they switch jobs and he does a great job being the tour guide because like the animals kind of have something for him and they're like they have a connection with him and all the kids at the zoo like totally love him. And even like the teenagers like going there and like watching him like zone out and stuff, which is kind of mean, but like I get it. They're just like he's like an attraction in and of itself.
Yeah.
In and of himself. But he starts having these. It's like what I kind of liked about it is it's like he's having these thoughts that are too like big for his brain. like he's thinking about things and concepts and like having these like understandings that he's like incapable of understanding.
You're too stupid to be thinking about them things.
But it's like cosmic horror. It was like he's having an understanding of something that is like incomprehensible.
But isn't that true of like all cosmic horror? Is that like it's like our minds crumble onto themselves because our brains can't comprehend what we're seeing?
Yeah. But for this one, it's like, I mean, he does kind of have obviously like a crumbling at the end, but it's almost like he's having an awakening throughout. Like he's, having this awareness happen where he's basically, like, I interpreted like he's understanding what happens after like death, right? Like he's like getting this idea of, everybody's trapped in their flesh prison, and just like the animals are trapped at the zoo.
Flesh Prison was a fucking Clive Barker novel.
Yes. And then you get freedom whenever you die.
Yeah, he was so weighed down, it was noticeable to people at work.
Yeah.
Didn't he start out as something else? Yeah, he was like
Yeah.
a shit collector.
Yeah, you're right. He wasn't initially the tour guide. He was like
he cleaned out the cages, and he was feeding the cages. Here, go cage.
He was feeding the animals in the cage. I was trying to say cleaning the cages and feeding. And then the tour guide is like moving and was like, hey, he would make a good like tour guide, and you don't have to pay him more because he's dumb. Yeah. Which is very messed up to do. But yeah, I just I liked and then he gets a job at the like meat factory. Or is it at the meat factory?
It's slaughterhouse.
It's at the slaughterhouse, right? Like he
just calls it the house.
He calls it the house.
Yeah.
Okay. He starts like getting a job there, and
he works animals. He works alongside Polly from Rocky. Yo, Polly. Yeah.
And he starts having those nightmares, and things get really confused for him. So he's kind of like, he's blurring the lines between life and death too much in his waking life along with his dream life. But I really like all the nightmares that he's having where he's like still a tour guide for these children and he's like taking them through like the in-between of life and death.
Yeah.
And I just think that there's like, especially like the last one that he has, when they're like passing these people in cages and there's like arms reaching out and like some guy like licks him and stuff, like all that was really creepy to me. I really liked that imagery.
He was nothing but a filthy bum. Wow. That's very judgy. Yeah, I mean, oh cool, our dog's just sitting back here peeing on our doormat.
Oh, Grogu,
what's going on here?
He needed to go outside.
Clearly.
At least he went to the door.
There's a mix-up in the house right now.
Grogu.
Bro, what is happening? Aww. Back it up. What happened?
Oh, man.
So.
Come here.
Yeah. Damn it.
Dang, that sucks.
Yeah.
I don't know how we're going to clean that.
Camp Crystal Lake got pissed on. You can't piss on hospitality. I won't allow it.
Poor little guy. We're still trying to potty train
really
him.
right.
It was a good line.
Troll to anybody? Nobody? Okay. Oh, he was nothing but a filthy bum. Oh, got it. Sorry. I say so much shit. I forget what I even fucking mention anymore. You're right. Good old Polly. Happy birthday, Polly. Anyway. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. While I did find the imagery within the dreams to be interesting. Overall, I guess, I don't know. He's overworked. He's underlaid, right? Yes, like he wants a girl.
Yeah.
Right? He's pent up. And what happens when you don't get laid? You skin gorillas. That's what you do. You know? You fuck me or I'm gonna skin this gorilla.
That's definitely not what you do.
No?
Yeah. No, but he's definitely pent up for sure.
Sure, because he's overworked and nobody wants to fuck the zoo tour guide. Or the guy who works at the slaughterhouse.
He meets at the bar does.
Yeah.
She's like super into him.
Yeah.
And that he's a tour guide. And it's like, oh, I think I saw you there when I take my class.
It's because she thinks he's going to fuck her like a zoo animal. He's like, did you learn your techniques from the monkeys?
From the monkeys?
Is that's not a turn on?
No.
Fuck me like a monkey. The promotion to the tour guide was the end for him, as the tour was like a descent into madness. I don't know why though.
Yeah, it's like the repetition was part of it, but also like,
bro, welcome to the
he
workforce.
fixating on what's her name, Eula,
Oh yeah,
on the
something
gorilla,
like
because he kept seeing her as like a woman trapped in a gorilla suit, and it was just like really tragic for him, like because it was all about like being trapped and imprisoned. And
Yeah,
so like
like he
having
was.
to like he was, and so having to like go through it like over and over and over every so many times every day, like that is, I do think that is what like triggers his descent into magic, because before, or into madness,
into dirty magic.
Because before that he was just kind of like dissatisfied, but none the wiser that he was missing out on too much.
Yeah. I think he was just horny.
I do think he was
so
horny too.
He saw a chick inside of a gorilla.
He
He just saw chicks and everything.
And
it's like, I think there's a hot babe under that gorilla suit. That's how horny he was. He's like, I'm gonna cut that fucking gorilla open until I find a hot babe inside.
It's so awful. I also like at the end of the last nightmare that he has, when he like, they reach the end, and the kids are all like, oh my god, like they're so scared and like freaked out. He's like, what do you mean? Like, it's beautiful out here. I just think that was interesting, because like two different views of death and like who's right, because it's like the kids have so much to live for and they're so vibrant, but they're also figments of his imagination.
It's all right. It's okay. There's something to live for. Jesus told me so. Yes. Yeah. What do you think? Okay, what does everyone make of his dreams? Are these like his breakdown of sanity, or is this like some supernatural goblin force entity fucking with his mind to make him commit some atrocity?
I think it's probably Goblin having an effect on him.
Yeah, but is it? Do you think the neighboring town is Nilbog?
No.
No?
It should be.
Nilbog is Goblin spelled backwards. This place didn't even try to hide it.
No.
Right? Nilbog was like trying to be tricky about it.
Yeah.
But this place was like, no, we're just straight up fucking goblins.
I love it though, because like goblin is one of my favorite words.
Yeah.
So I was like, really,
she uses it towards herself all the time. Anytime she takes off her makeup, she's like, I'm gonna go become a goblin. I'm gonna go get into goblin mode. Yeah.
And the girls, it's so funny.
Activating goblin mode.
The other day, this was like weeks ago, but like I hadn't put my makeup on. It was like a Sunday or something, and the girls were like, "Are you gonna stay in goblin mode all day?"
You gotta put your fucking real face on. I was
like, I'm in goblin mode.
You gonna remain a goblin all day, or are you gonna try to be human? Yeah. Based off the other stories in Goblin in general, I think it's a supernatural thing. Okay. So it's not his fault. Poor Lenny.
Poor Dirk.
Dirk.
Yeah.
Dirk Diggler. I did like the opening line. I actually had to write it down. Dirk Rogers woke every day an optimist and fell asleep despaired. That's like the most perfect opening line for anyone who suffers from an anxiety disorder.
Yeah.
I always wake up very optimistic, like today I'm not gonna have any anxiety.
Yeah.
And then throughout the day I have tons of fucking anxiety, and I go to bed like I'm never gonna get over this shit. I'm gonna die miserable. And then I wake up in the morning, I'm like, no, today is the day. Right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. That one really hit with me.
It's a good line.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's pretty obvious. This is definitely one of the most obvious twists of all time, when he's like goes to kill. They're like, well, you got to just go kill the last animal, then you can leave and you can quit. And I'm like, he's killing the fucking gorilla.
Yeah.
Like, this is obvious. So there was no surprise in that. Was anybody surprised by that is the question. Because sure as shit was not.
I wasn't. It's tragic because it's like because he sees her in his nightmare and she's free from her gorilla suit. Why are you wearing that silly gorilla suit? And then he kills her and frees her.
Yeah.
Right.
She's free.
She's free. She's dead and free.
Yeah.
So.
And she's free from her prison of the gorilla body and the zoo.
Yes, both.
Yeah. So that's that. Yeah, I was not surprised. Yeah. If anybody has anything else to say about a mix-up at the zoo, now is the time. We are moving into the final story, the cover art of the book, The Hedges, which, of course, when you see this, your instant immediate thought is one of two things. Us being horror fans, more than likely, it would be The Shining.
The Overlook.
Or if you're an 80s kid, it would be Labyrinth.
Both.
Right. So, okay. The Hedges.
This was sad.
This was sad, but I thought that the reveal of it being the key was super fucking lame.
Oh, did you?
And
what did you think it was gonna be?
The fact that like he has some maze for everyone to go through. I guess I like this concept in theory of like I don't know. How big can this maze be and how complicated can it be? The way they describe it, I'm like, okay, come on. No one has ever figured this out. But I guess once we figure out that she like goes in and she has this system, right, where it's been trimmed most recently and all that stuff. And then she has to push past the darkness and break apart like parts of it to be able to see what she's looking at. And there's like a glass case around the prize.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think this is one of those stories where you can't take it seriously or think of it logically at all.
Yeah.
Right. How old's the girl supposed to be?
I think she's like 10, 11, 12, I thought.
She's 10, 11, 12?
She's like in that age range. That's what I thought.
Right, how old are you? I'm 10, 11, 12.
She's somewhere in there. She's younger. I think I know it says.
Oh, yeah. She does have the Alice in Wonderland look to her for sure.
Yeah, okay. Definitely with her dress.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I think it's so obvious that you think it's going to be the dead wife that even the cops are like, it's the wife, right? Her dead body. Like, because that's what we all think. So they say it out loud. And I was like, oh, so it's not going to be that. And I thought it was going to be something incriminating because she comes to the door and she's like, you son of a bitch, you'll be run out of this town. You're going to prison for the rest of your life. And it's like, it's the key to the fucking city.
Yeah.
It's the key to the city. Nobody gives a shit.
Yeah, well, we just
like why would this be of such importance to this little girl?
Was it 9?
Was she 9 years old?
She might have been 9,
she's
10, 11,
12. Okay, that's not one of the numbers she said.
I don't know. I don't know why it's the key. It does.
She explained it a little bit about like. I know that it's explained in here of like if the keys return, the ghosts will be released.
If the key is missing from City Hall, the ghosts of Goblin will like run amok or whatever.
So he straight up sets up like some kind of fantasy thing here, where it's like if you can make it through the labyrinth and unlock the key that gets the ghosts to be freed from their prisons. Like this is straight up like Lord of the Rings kind of shit going on in here.
Yeah,
but set in this like
but he
tiny small town.
He like doesn't really want because like he finds the key after his wife's funeral,
right?
And he's drunk and everything, and it's just like maybe if I keep the key, like her ghost will come visit me. But it's like he's the part of the reason why all this stuff is happening, you know.
Yeah.
Even though not everything is supernatural, but it's like the bad luck and the weirdness seem to be because of that. My favorite part of this story is definitely the Goblin police.
Yeah.
I like really loved their descriptions, and I thought that they were so creepy and weird, and just like because we have gotten a couple like references to them in the other stories, like you don't want the Goblin Police coming towards you with their like clay hands or whatever. And I'm just like, what does that mean? Like, why are they described like that? Like, what's wrong with them? And then finding out that they're like literally like clay like suits for these like creatures. Hey. Sorry. I just thought that was cool. I thought that was really cool, and I really like the way that they're like when they take their sunglasses off and their eyes are like 2D,
too big, yeah,
and like not, yeah, they're too big and 2D.
Yeah,
That's creepy. That would be so unsettling. Like if you saw somebody and they had drawn on eyes, basically.
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't that be scary? And the way they talk, they're all like slow and like.
You mean the Goblin Police?
Yeah. I liked them, but I hated them. I was scared of them.
Yeah, I mean,
and it's sad though, because it's like they have such a great relationship, like him and his wife, and like just the fact that she just dies in her sleep. Like there's no explanation for how she dies. She just dies in her sleep. Like, and so when I was reading it, I was also thinking of like you, right? Like, oh my God, like waking up and like finding you dead next to me.
You're like, yes!
No, like that
freedom.
Kind of, like, being with a partner that you're so in love with and you're so like, planning a life and like expecting to live together. And then that's kind of the sadness, right? Is that inevitably, most likely, one of you dies before the other, unless you both die at the same time in an accident or something. But like, yeah,
right through.
And it's very tragic, especially in this case, because it's like they're very young. They're not like but they're young. Like they're not like.
Oh yeah, he's in his 30s.
Yeah, like they.
What do you mean not young?
Okay, like they.
Whoa, bro!
Young. I'm 30, so I don't know if I've ever said my age on here.
That's fucking young. Are you kidding me? To die?
Yes.
It might not be young to my kids, but to die, your 30s.
Very young. I wasn't. They're not like.
That's very young to die.
It is very young to die. You're right. But I just it's sad, and like him building this maze and like memoriam of her, I thought was really sweet, and it just kind of makes sense as far as like a grieving process, because he needed something to occupy his mind and his hands, so that he wasn't, because like all the descriptions of him where he was like that her like the house had like thousands of her ghosts in there, and just thinking like, oh my God, like if you owned a house, like this is your homestead, this is where you live, and you have so many memories of the person you love, like everywhere you go.
Yeah,
it'd be hard. Like that's why some people like move and like have to get rid of everything, because they can't handle like being reminded constantly. And I was just kind of thinking like, what would I do in that situation? I do think I would be somebody that would keep everything. I think I would be like really holding on to stuff.
I know that's true, because that's why you got with me. She got with me to get access to this movie collection. So she's waiting for me to die so it can be all hers.
No.
My favorite description in this for sure is like there's 1,000 of her ghosts in the house. Like everywhere he looks, there's something attached to the memory of her.
Yeah.
And so the memory of her is the ghost, right?
Yeah.
And I love that idea of like, if I look around this house right now, if you were dead, I would definitely have like a connection to all those things. Like I look at the PlayStation and I would be like, this is the thing I ignored Kaylee for all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
She didn't even exist when I had this thing on, and now she really doesn't exist.
Yeah, exactly. No, but yeah, like that's the kind of thing I was thinking too. Like, oh, like it does put things into perspective, because like you take for granted like people being in your life.
Sure.
And like
I
always
never take you for granted.
Mean, no, we try not to, but it's easy to just be like, you're gonna be with me forever. Like there's never gonna be a time when we're not gonna be alive or something, and like that's just part of what happens. And this is really sad. Like it bums me out to think about it.
Sure.
Of course, but that's definitely, I think, a good part of this story is that it addresses grief in a very like bittersweet way. Even when he gets like, when the girl is like, I'm gonna turn you into the Goblin Police, like, and he's like trying to gather all her things that he can. Like, it's sad because it's like on one side of things, like you do have to move on and let things go, but on the other hand, like you wouldn't want to, especially if it was somebody that you love so much. You know, you wouldn't want to let those, even the smallest things like receipts, like, or whatever. Like, he has so many random things that are just like trash to anybody else.
That's how some people become hoarders.
Right.
Yeah.
So
every time I look at the fridge, I think about like there's this, late at night, I see a goblin rummaging through there looking for late night treats. That's what I'm reminded of every time I look at that.
Yeah.
She always looks at me at like 11 o'clock at night, and she's like, "I want something." And I'm like, "Sweet." And she's like, "Yeah, sweet."
It's true.
That's you every fucking night.
Sweets.
Yeah, that sweet tooth. I would move. Don't want to be reminded of stuff. Don't know if I'd be able to move on while still living in the same house.
I get it. I definitely get it.
Yeah, I mean, it would be very odd, like, especially like people who, you know, get married again or whatever, and they'll like, they'll have like, they'll live in the house with their new husband or wife, be screwing in the same bed.
No, like that. See that?
It's like, what?
I would only like, no. I would definitely not do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, I don't know. But some people are just disconnected from that kind of stuff. We call them sociopaths. So yeah. But yeah, it's tragic. The girl's mom is out looking for her. Yeah. You know, she jumps in the car. And speaking of leaving all your shit behind, as far as I'm aware, in this, it seems like they Kaylee just skipped to the bathroom. That was adorable. I don't know why she skipped. You were like in a big rush, but somehow you decided to skip instead of like run.
I was like kind of tripping, so I turned it into a skip.
I always like skip to start running.
I can't run.
I do like a one skip to a run. I don't know. That's something I've been doing forever. But yeah, the mom and the kid, I feel like they just drive.
Yeah, they leave.
And they're like leaving all their shit behind. I know. Like, we're not going to go back for any of your stuff.
Yeah.
What?
Because the Goblin Police. Like, I would be like that too. I'd be like, bye, we're going. Even though the mom doesn't really see them, but the girl.
Every time you say the Goblin Police, I'm thinking of fucking like Jareth and like Labyrinth or something.
Yeah. No. The Goblin Police.
I think of you in like a freaking police outfit without your makeup on. Yeah, like, I'm here to arrest you.
Something sweet.
I want something sweet.
Yeah, they do just leave. I'd say that's a good decision. I'm glad that they do. And
yeah, it is a good it's a good decision. Yeah. I just can't imagine like leaving my movies behind.
If you saw the Goblin Police,
would you leave our animals behind?
But maybe they don't have
pets. But they have to go home they'd be dead. No. If you knew you were gonna die coming home for the dog, you'd come home anyway.
I wouldn't die coming home for the dog. I would just live.
You just live. I just get it.
I would simply survive.
My husband's first wife died, and we lived in the same house as they did. See, there you go. See, some people can do it. I called her a sociopath, and now I regret it.
No, it's just everyone has different.
No,
it's totally everything is different for everybody.
I'm like Homer Simpson right now, like slinking back into the bush. I just go off camera. And I no longer exist in the show.
Yeah, and then we kind of talked a little bit earlier about how the witch in this doesn't make his heart explode, but no. I do like how she presents herself as his wife and is telling him like wonderful things that like give him all these epiphanies, and he's like, oh my god, I understand everything, and then it turns into like something terrifying, and then it's just like noises. And the only reason that she doesn't explode his heart is because he drops the key to the city, and now the witch has the key to Goblin, which maybe she's the person that should have the key to Goblin. I don't know. But
yeah, I don't know.
yeah.
So I guess that's it. That's Goblin. I read very frantically in the end to try to make sure we got this done in time, and less people showed up than I had hoped or expected. What can you do? What can you do? I'm glad we got you fine, gentle ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
A lot of ladies tonight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Gato's a male, right? Or am I crazy on that? Because we got Selena, Allie, and Amber.
Yeah.
It's a freaking. It's not a sausage fest for once.
Yeah. And the ladies like to read.
That's true. We got someone else last second. Yeah, it's a guy. Okay, so I'm not alone. Not the only penile unit in the conversation.
No.
Nope. Who joined last second? We got a sixth person. I want to know. Make yourself known. Who jumped in last second as we're about to get off? We need to come up with a new book. If you showed up, you get to decide.
Yeah.
Are you going to do a book club? No, probably not. I read it though. So if you want to discuss it with me, go right ahead. We can talk about it in a private chat. So hit me up if you read it. Anybody who read Clown in a Cornfield 2 Friendo Lives, hit me up. I'm down to talk about it because I haven't gotten to talk about it with nobody.
Yeah, I haven't read it at all.
Nope. Sure didn't.
Yeah. What do you guys want to read next?
Yeah. If you showed up to this, that's you get to help us pick the next book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about Grady Hendrix last time.
Grady Hendrix would be cool. We had what was it? Final Girl Support Group was the one that we had. Like maybe. What is it? Everyone give a suggestion.
A Stephen King book anthology. I haven't read any of the Stephen King anthologies.
Oh my goodness, this would take so long to do. Like one with like 30 stories in it.
I know.
Yeah. Want to read the alternate choice? Okay.
Yeah,
I'm super down. I'm super down.
I like Grady Hendrix.
That's what my vote was all. Okay. Well, it's looking like it's going to be that unless Final Girl. Okay.
All right.
There we go.
Got it.
That was easy.
Yeah.
Final Girl Support Group.
Awesome.
As long as Selena is okay with that.
Yeah.
Selena, you awake? Poor Selena. She's like on her phone. It's like freaking, yeah, it's probably like what? It's 9. No, wait, maybe 6 o'clock there is like 2. I think she said 1 because we started doing it early for her.
Yeah,
and it was 2 at 7, so it's 1.
Selena's here.
Selena is here.
I'm up for that.
She is up.
Back to reading, which is good. Yeah, I
5 a.m. You were right.
Yep.
Yeah, 5 a.m. Holy shit. It's got me up into grading. Okay. Well, that was easy.
All right.
One book.
Final Girl Support Group.
Yeah.
That's what we're gonna do.
We had to. I bought one and we checked one out from the library.
Yes.
So that we could have.
If I can find the library digital copy of this one.
Final Girl Support.
I forgot to somebody.
You want to read it on a phone?
No, on the tablet. Twin City is not here, but they messaged me. And I don't think I think I showed you this, but I don't think you never posted it in the, there is an app for people to get books from, and that was what they were using. Let me see.
Okay.
It's called Cloud Library by Biblioteca.
Okay.
And they were like, you connect it with your library card. They have the ebook and audiobook for free. That was for Goblin.
Somebody left. Somebody left too early.
Anyway, just wanted to say that, and then maybe you can post it too for people in the Patreon and the members so that they can have access to it. I don't know what is available.
Go to your library, man.
Yeah.
Everybody, you guys got a library. Go for it. Okay. So Amber and everybody else. This will be on May 26th. Okay, 4 weeks from today. That gives everyone enough time to read it.
Get it?
Right?
Yeah.
But then we need a new live stream.
Yeah.
For 2 weeks from now.
So probably we haven't done a watch party in a while.
Yeah, you guys want to do a watch party?
Had really great time hanging out with everybody in the watch parties. We were going to do one for Evil Dead, and we just didn't.
Yeah.
We're also in the process of trying to move.
Yeah.
So our life is going to get a lot more hectic in May, June and July. So we're going to definitely have maybe we'll see. Anyway, but we could do a watch party, and we can definitely post about it and see what everybody would want to watch.
Well, we can decide now. Everyone who showed up for 2.5 hours, I think they're the ones that should decide. We can all decide together right now. We'll do that on May 12th, 2 weeks from now. We can watch what's coming out in May. Is there any franchise or anything that we need to like? I know Becky, The Wrath of Becky's coming out.
New Evil Dead. Yeah, we could rewatch the New Evil Dead.
The new one?
Because it's coming out in May.
It's coming out May 9th. It won't be out yet.
Yeah.
So that won't work. Wrath of Becky comes out. Let's see. Release date September 15th. That's not gonna work. Trying to see what's coming out. We need to get off. We got a lot of shit to do tonight still, and Kaylee's not feeling well. But let's see.
Oh, the remake Amber meant.
Okay. That's I thought maybe that's it. Oh, it's not a bad idea.
Definitely not.
Coming soon. Let's see. This is May 12th. Okay. Shut up, clown dog. Not seeing.
He's such a good boy.
Yeah. The Evil of Dracula. You know what I'm really looking forward to is that last voyage of the Demeter.
Mm-hmm.
That looks friggin' awesome.
He's like, I need to get attention.
Put him up. Put him up. Put him up. Up. The Boogeyman. We can rewatch The Boogeyman for the Boogeyman. Boogeyman comes out in June, but that doesn't really help us with anything. Yeah, there's not really anything coming out that we can connect to. So, yeah, something on Tubi would make it easy. Fucking, the Savage Land, just death. You know what I would love to watch, although it'd be hard with subtitles. You know what I'm gonna say? No.
On Tubi that you'd love to watch with subtitles?
With the real dead kid.
Oh my god.
Terrified.
Yes. He is evil.
He's
Ow.
He usually gets like that when he needs to poop.
Yeah.
So we gotta go walk him. Evil Dead. I'm not opposed to it. Evil Dead sounds good to me. I mean, it would be a good follow-up to the new Evil Dead. But the 2013 Evil Dead. Because everyone's high on Evil Dead right now. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Put a leash on him. Let's get him going. Chapter 1 and 2 are on Tubi, which It's are long, right? The first one. I love those though.
I love them, though.
That would be fun. But one part, because we are doing the book club next after that. There's no Final Girl support group movie though.
No.
See, that would be fun, is to do like a book club meeting one week and then the next time we do the adaptation.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's just do It.
That would have been cool. Oh my god, I'm not reading It again. Holy shit. I could not get that done that fast. It's crazy. So Creep Show. I'm down for Evil Dead. Allie said Creep Show. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that show. I mean, sticking with the anthologies.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So
we should make a poll and have people vote for like Evil Dead, Creep Show, or It.
yeah, how about that? We got 5 people here. So how about each one of you throw out one each right now, because on YouTube it only allows me to put 5 entries. So that gives me perfect. It gives me 5 titles.
Yeah.
And then I'll let everyone vote on it on YouTube. And then that's the one we'll watch. What do you guys think? Everyone give me one title right now, and then I will use those. So what would you want to watch with us? Everyone gets one pick. Choose wisely. It Chapter 1, okay? Gato, remake of Evil Dead. It Chapter 1. Come on, Allie. Go. Selena's going with Evil Dead as well. Evil Dead, the original? The one from 81? Or the remake? I think Selena's saying the original Evil Dead.
Okay.
We need Allie and who else is here? There's a 5th person.
I don't know.
It's freaking Laura Barnes from Unfriended.
Huh.
She's joined the chat. Allie, what do you got? Give us a title. I'm glad you guys were on tonight. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm glad you. Yeah. I'm sorry you were late. I know you read this whole damn book, and I wish you were here for all of it. It's a shame, but you got some of it. Last time you missed the whole thing. Creep Show, since that's been mentioned. Okay, there you go. Allie's got that. And Selena, just to make sure, Evil Dead, the original from 81. Is that what you were going with? Because at least pick something different than Amber.
Or we'll just have those 3.
We're just gonna have those. So I just want to confirm that's it. And then otherwise, let's say goodnight, guys. So great hanging out with you guys for almost 3 hours.
I know.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But you guys are wonderful. Thank you for reading this book. Look forward to Final Girl Support Group on May the 26th at 6 p.m. Arizona time. Hopefully Kaylee won't be sick this time and we can actually start at 6.
I know,
we apologize that we got a little. Yep, the original as an option. Perfect. Good night, guys. Thank you, Allie.
Thank you, Selena. Thank you, Amber. Thank you, Gato.
Yep.
You all are wonderful.
You guys are wonderful.
And I hope you had fun.
Yes.
Hope you like listening to us talk. I hope you like talking with us.
Yeah.
And
we'll see you guys next time. So I'll make the poll, and in 2 weeks from now, we will watch one of those 4 films. All right, guys. And good night to the 5th creep. That might be me.
Oh, yeah, that probably is you.
Right here. Let's see if that makes that go down to 4. It might take a second to register, but whatever. That might have been me the whole time, but I don't know. Anyways. All right. Love you guys. Good night.